You got it locked on Roadium Radio.
Hey Tony, drop that. What bass?
I bet. Dr. Dre in the place to be. Co-rockin' shit with my homeboy Steve. After Roadium, get stupid some. Yo, don't think that you can get none of Dre. The motherfucking doctor, the bitch hopper, the sucker motherfucking stopper. I'm fucked up, so don't mind what I'm saying. I'm just kicking it. But Steve, Tony, A.A, Susan, yo, we be choosing dope shit to put in a mix. Know what I'm saying? We kick shit like and that's a fact. And if your shit ain't in the mix, you know it's whack. And that ain't no bullshit. I'm kicking facts on a serious tip. Word up, Dr. Dre's in full effect doing serious damage, boy.
Tony A! Tony A! When you're ready, go.
Welcome back, everybody, to Roadium Radio, episode 176. And on a Tuesday special, like I told you guys a couple of episodes ago, that I was going to be having a lot more episodes just for the month of July. Next week, I'll also do, I believe, a Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and then a Sunday. But this week, Tuesday and Wednesday, I'll have another special guest here tomorrow. And then on Friday, I'll have Freaky Tales. So make sure you guys tune in, subscribe, like, comment, talk negative, positive. It doesn't matter. You guys are still watching. Other than that, once again, everybody's orders have been mailed out. For those of you that still want to buy shirts, hats, merch, whatever, go to DOCUMIXERY.com and place your order there. For those of you that are asking me, are downloads still available? Yes, downloads are still available. Go to DOCUMIXERY.com. For those of you that still want to submit your music, yes, you can at roadiumradio@gmail.com. Make sure you guys go there and you guys submit your music. You know what really helps? Visuals. If you have videos, if you have a short bio, please submit that as well. So that way we know at least what we're going to be able to talk about. So other than that, once again, tomorrow tune in, and Friday and Sunday I won't be here because my daughter's getting married, and not only am I a happy grandpa, but I'm a happy father. I'm blessed, and it's going to be an honor to to give my daughter's hand in marriage to a very, very good man whom she's marrying. So thank God for that. So without further ado, please allow me to introduce my very special guest of the night, Clearbear. Did I say it right?
Yeah, you said it right.
Okay. I'm not trying to be sarcastic, but you know what when I say clear, you know what always comes out, and I don't know why. So please, Care Bear.
Yeah, I get you.
As long as I didn't say gummy bear, so we're good. So anyways, man, how you doing? I know LA traffic screws everybody. You know what I'm saying? And I know you got here a little bit late. It's all good. We're getting into it. For people that may be wondering, because you don't rap, correct?
No.
Okay. You don't sing.
I sing a little bit, yeah.
Okay, a little bit. You don't make beats, do you?
No.
Okay. So people may be wondering, who is Clearbear? So in a nutshell, before we dive into it, I'm going to ask you the question, who is Clearbear?
Well, I'm Clearbear. I'm a 23-year-old indigenous activist. I'm with the Indigenous Alliance movement. I am been in this movement for a very, very long time. I started this journey of decolonization and reconnecting with indigenous roots when I was 12 years old. And I've, been very disciplined in looking in the books, looking into the studies and talking to elders and going all over Mexico and finding out the history of our people, the history of the genocide that has taken place in regards to our identity. Because a lot of us, we call ourselves Latino, Hispanic, Mestizo, Mexican, El Salvadorian, a lot of nationalistic identities. But the reality is that what is not being taught, what is being suppressed, is that all those identities were created, and they were created by European oppressors. They were created by our colonizers for a specific purpose. And again, this is not a emotion. This is not an opinion. When you look at the history for what it is, this is a fact. This is a fact. And this is a very overwhelming fact for many of us. Many times I talk to our people and I see a twitch. I see this uncomfortability. But again, you know, many of y'all, for example, many of y'all might hear the term para mejorar la raza, for the betterment of the race in regards to being with a white person or white passing person. So where does that come from? Let's look deeper. Let's dig deeper into where this comes from specifically. It comes from our colonization. It comes from indigenous people being taught that they are inferior to the Spanish conquistadors. And this bleeds into modern times with our families. In Latin American media, you see, a lot of the time you see like the heroes, the good people in Latin American media and movies being represented as amazing, beautiful, intelligent power. Beauty, intelligence, and power is defined through Eurocentric standards, while you see dark people, people who look Indio, people who look indigenous, indígena, as the criminals, as the maids, as the servants. Again, this comes from colonization. And this is exactly what I do, and I focus on. I want to shed light that we have a valid Native identity. We are Native American people, and our ancestors have been here for thousands upon thousands upon thousands of years on this continent.
That's awesome, man. I like that. I'm interested, and I'm glad you're here to educate us because, you know what? I've studied a lot, but the majority of everything that I've studied has been pretty much ancient history. And I shamefully admit that I never really studied our history. Yeah. And before we went live, I was sharing with you about my mother and my father, where they were from, and how my abuelita looked straight native, you know what I'm saying? And I never really bothered to look deeper into our family roots, you know what I'm saying? And I told you, you remind me a lot of my sister. So, yeah. But now, where is Clearbear originally from? Where did you grow up at?
I originally grew up in the Bay Area.
Really?
Yes, the Bay Area. Specifically, a small town called Pacifica, which is about 15 minutes away from San Francisco. Okay. I was actually adopted away from my family. I was raised by non-natives, non-brown folk, and I was taught to feel a certain way about who I was. Like, I was taught growing up, don't be a drunken Indian. Don't be a wetback. Don't be a beaner. You know, don't work at Home Depot. All these things, I never did. You know, I never worked at Home Depot. It was just these racist things. I was adopted by white people. A lot of, a lot of racism was put onto me growing up. So this movement is very important because it's not just unique to me. It's actually rampant amongst our communities because we're not being taught who we are. And to navigate our identities as Native people, we're being taught that we're Latino, Hispanic, Mestizo, nationalistic identities. Like a lot of people think Mexican is a race. Mexican is not a race, it's a nationality. So anyone of any background can be a Mexican as long as they have the citizenship to Mexico. What has happened is it's been racialized, meaning that it's been said like, oh yeah, I'm half Mexican, I'm a quarter Mexican. But again, they're using it wrong because it was made as a nationality historically. And this is what we're fighting. We're fighting settler colonialism. We're fighting forms of white supremacy. And when I say that, a lot of people might want to lump me in with the left, lump me in with a lot of liberal ideas. But trust me, where I'm coming from is from an indigenous perspective, and to liberate our people's minds, because we are the continuation of the ancient peoples. We are Native.
Good, man. Hey, man, I'm learning. You know. And,
no, there's no disrespect.
And I'm glad that you're sharing this because I do believe a lot of people, even if they maybe were never taught something like this, whether in school or in college or whatever, you know what? It's good that we're using this platform for your voice to be heard and for you to educate our people, because you're teaching me things that I don't know. You know, but at the same time, I will be fair and say this, that everything that you're sharing with us, I encourage people to dig into it and see if everything what you're saying is true. Yeah. I think that's only fair, you know.
I think completely fair.
So now, when we spoke over the phone, you were telling me that you had a message, you know, and we're going to get into that. I know this is part of it as well. But so you were raised in the Bay Area, and if I could say by white parents. Did you ever find out or dig into who your real parents were?
Yes, I actually found my biological parents.
And what was that like, and how old were you when this happened?
Well, I grew up with a sealed adoption, so I wasn't legally allowed to meet my biological parents until I was 18 years old.
Okay.
And the reason being was my mother was very heavily into drugs. She's very heavily into gang life, and she wasn't able to take care of me. You know, we were found in the streets alone at 1 year old, me and my brother and my other brother. And that was very heavy, you know, that's very heavy. And when I was 18 years old, I was going to connect back to my mother, but she was still heavily on drugs, and she didn't want to see me because I reminded her of my father. And I share the story because this is very common. It's common amongst our people, our gente, that are adopted away. They don't get the chance to know themselves, recognize themselves. And with my father, he died when I was 8 years old. I never got the chance to meet him. But he was a native man of indigenous descent to Baja. He was a Native American. He's Cumia Indian. That's the original peoples of Baja, Mexico, and also parts of San Diego. And that's where my ancestry comes from. But my mother, she grew up Chicana, right? She grew up down in that culture. And, you know, if we look deeper into it, her roots go back to the indigenous peoples of Guanajuato, of central Mexico. Mm-hmm. And I'm very proud of my ancestors because my ancestors are indigenous to there. They're Native Americans. They fought the Spaniards, and we defeated them in war. You know, we defeated the Spaniards in war. No one talks about that history because our history is being suppressed. So I want everyone to know that they are Native, and I want them to know of the history and complexity of our identity. Many of our people are taught that they're all Mexica, which is what the Aztecs actually called themselves. Everyone goes by their Aztec. And I'm not trying to down that, because it's, for a lot of us, it's all we knew. It's all we know. It's all we were given. We look into a history book, Mexican history, you indigenous people, you think Aztec or Maya. But in Mexico, there's 62 different indigenous nations, right? The chances of you being from one of those nations is very, very, very high. The majority of Mexico, 90% of Mexico alone, are Native American peoples racially. But again, mestizo, Latino, Hispanic, those aren't races. Right. Those are cultural identities. And they were specifically planned. When the colonizers came, they wanted to take land and resources. So what they did, right? So what they did was they had the original owners stripped of their identity. If you practiced your native culture, you'd be beaten. If you went by an indigenous name, you'd be beaten, you'd be murdered, you'd be raped, tortured. So they enforced Spanish names. You had to speak Spanish and had a domination of Spanish culture in order to represent yourself, you know, in order to be alive. This is what happened to our people. So many of us, we have Spanish names, we have Spanish, we speak Spanish language, it's dominant. But again, we need to stop identifying with a foreign philosophy, a foreign mindset, because we aren't foreigners on our land. This is our land. This is our nation. This is our continent. Just like there are Africans in Africa, just like there are Europeans in Europe, just like there are Middle Eastern people in the Middle East. This continent is a brown continent from north, south, and central. You know, we are Native American people. We are indigenous people.
Now, do you still have a relationship with your mother, with your biological mother, or no?
My mother refuses to see me because, again, I remind her too much of my father.
Okay.
And
did she ever show you pictures of your father?
Yes.
Okay. Okay. Now, what about those that adopted you? Do you still have a good relationship with them as well?
Well, one of my parents was a fireman, mm-hmm. and he died when I was 17 years old. He died because the fumes in one of the fires he was at triggered a cancer he already had.
Okay.
You know, he had cancer in his brain, but it metastasized into his lungs, and he passed away when I was 17. And he was a pretty good man. He was a pretty good man in the terms of, like, he wasn't as heavily racist. Mm-hmm. He was a little bit more open to it. And he realized that a lot of Mexicans were Native and that there has been identity suppression. And he kind of guided me along the way.
Right.
Because there was a deep sense of guilt. It's a guilt thing, you know, for a lot of white folk. Not all, but a lot. And, you know, he helped me, definitely. Okay. He did. He guided me.
And the woman that adopted you, do you still communicate with her as well?
We're okay.
Okay.
We're okay. You know?
I mean, I know she probably sees now that you have studied your history. You know who you are. You know what your identity is, and maybe to a certain extent. And I'm just saying maybe because I don't know, but I'm asking.
Yes.
Maybe they didn't want you to wake up. Maybe they didn't want you to see who you really are.
It definitely was suppressed. I was growing up being taught I was white. Every time I mentioned being native, I was taught that, oh, you're white, right? Or you're Mexican. And even this idea of Mexican, right? I say, okay, I'm Mexican, right? So then I go into it and I start embracing just Mexican identity for what it has been taught to the majority of us. And with that, even with that, it's like, oh no, you're not Mexican. You're just white. You're still just white. And it's like, again, this uncomfortability with being brown. You know, they see us as cockroaches, and this comes from lived experience. I was raised by a white family, and my relatives, they look down on you because you're brown. They see you as a cockroach, and it's heavy, man.
Yeah.
You know?
No, I believe me, I understand that to a certain extent. And I say that because I remember when I wanted to go to Mexico with friends, my mom would tell me, they're not going to like you over there. So me wanting to embrace, you know, my Mexican people and a country where my parents came from,
Yes.
I'm like, what are you talking about? I'm Mexican, you know?
Exactly.
They're going to love me over there. I'm one of them. Nah, bro. Este cabrón es un pocho. Mándalo a la verga.
Wow.
Seriously, like they looked at me like almost like if I was a bootleg Mexican or half white Mexican, or I'm not one of them because I wasn't born over there. Then I met, and believe me, this is not everybody, but some people that I've met, okay? They come over here from Mexico, okay, to make a better life. And then they thought they were not only more Mexican than me, but more American than me. So I'm like, okay, I'm not wanted over there. And here, I'm not really a Mexican. I remember one time there was these two guys from Mexico. I was working, and they were telling a joke. And I told them in Spanish, a ver, dime mí, you know, I want to hear it. No te vamos a decir porque no eres mexicano. We're not going to tell you because you're not Mexican. And I just told them, then what the fuck am I? You know?
Yes.
And they didn't, eres gabacho. So maybe for some people I wasn't Mexican enough. For some people, maybe I was white, too white. So there's even a division even amongst our people, bro.
Yeah.
So, and now let me ask you this. Do you ever come across people sharing what you know and they you know, I'm just going to be straight up with you. Man, you're fucked in the head, bro. What the fuck are you talking about?
Yes, definitely. You know, they see what I do. They see what my affiliates do in the movement and other movements that are very similar to what I do. And they think it's just nuts. You know,
Yeah.
they think it's nuts. They think like, because they have no solid understanding of what has happened historically.
Right.
Right. So they don't keep an open mind. And plus there's a lot of trauma there.
Yeah.
I am a firm believer that our people have intergenerational trauma from being colonized, a colonized people. You know, I don't want to run away from that. The majority of our peoples are colonized historically and even to this day. Our
Right.
brothers and sisters and relatives. The kids in those cages, do you think that's an isolated incident? It's not.
No.
It's not. This has been going on. The majority of those kids are indigenous. This has been going on for the last 500 years. 500 years this has been going on. This is nothing new. So we got to stop pretending that this is new because it's been going on for a minute. Also, the woman being sterilized. For those of you who might not know what sterilization is, it's taking away our woman's ability to reproduce. That's genocide. When you look at the definition of genocide, it is the intentional destruction of our people both mentally and physically. Again, that's what they're doing.
Yeah.
They're killing our babies. They're forcing our women into sex trafficking. Murdered and missing indigenous women. Again, that's not unique to just United States and Canada. That's happening in Mexico. That's happening all across Latin America, this continent. We're a continental race. Just like the continent of Africa. How there's black people and African people of all of that continent, the same thing applies to us. You would fit in, if you took off your hat, you dress like you were quote unquote native, right? And you went into a reservation, I swear to you, brother, you will fit into there. You will fit into the res. Why? Because you're native. Everyone here is indigenous. Your brown skin, your features that don't look European, that's not an accident. You're native. You're native to this continent. And we got to stop pretending like we're just other. Just like there's Chicano studies and American Indian studies being two different things, that shit should be the same. That should be the same because we are native people. We are native people to this land. When it's a rabbit hole. It's very uncomfortable because it opens up a lot of room though too. It's very empowering because you're like, okay, so the addiction, all that, the environmental racism, all that shit that impacts our communities, prison, all that is intentional. When you know the history, it's not isolated. They wanted to break our people mentally. The psychological warfare, mental warfare is very, very, very real. And it's still going on. Calling yourself Latino, was created by a Spaniard European, a white person from another country, for a specific reason.
Right.
Specific reason.
When you say, they created it, they did this. Well, let's narrow it down. Who is they?
They. Okay. That's a very good question. They is the European colonizer.
Okay.
The European colonizer who entered our lands and who still are beneficiaries of our ancestral land and resources. Beneficiaries, that's what they are. Are all white people this way? No, I don't believe that.
Right.
But do I think that a lot of white people benefit from a system that has historically and currently oppressed our people? Absolutely.
Yeah.
I do. I do. That is a fact. As long as our babies are in cages, their ancestors have been migrating to North and Central and South America for thousands of years. And now that we're being stripped and they're getting beaten, sexually abused, forced in cages, that's traumatic. That's awful,
Yeah.
Unacceptable.
Yeah. And now you could understand, well, let me ask you this. Has anybody ever sat there and called you a racist?
Yes, many times.
Because you're speaking the truth.
Yes.
So I'm not going to understand that because I have a lot of black friends that speak up for their people, and pretty much all they're doing is just being labeled as racist because they're just waking people up, and I understand what you're doing with your message. Now, let me ask a little bit more about yourself. So you grew up in the Bay Area. When did you come out this way to Los Angeles?
Came out here 2 years ago specifically for the purposes of this movement because I was doing some thinking. I was looking at the data. Most of our people are here in LA.
Yeah.
This is the hub. This is the Mecca. So if I want to do this movement, it has to be here.
It has to be here.
It has to be here.
Yeah.
We are the sleeping giant. Sleeping giant. That's what we are.
I have to agree with you 100%. Now, so you live out here. Now, let me ask you this. Growing up in the Bay Area, now being in Los Angeles, what is the difference between the Bay and LA?
Oh, there's a big difference for sure. If I'm to be absolutely sincere, there's a lot of trauma. There's a lot of intense trauma here, and there's a lot of injustice here, and it's hard to see, because there's one thing knowing the history and coming at it from a logical perspective, but then there's that emotional perspective, being here and then knowing the history of what happened to our peoples and then seeing it still continuing. It's a lot to take in. Like over there in the Bay, you have our community there in San Jose, Santa Clara. You have a community over there.
Yeah.
But I grew up in an area that was predominantly white, right?
Right.
So I kind of just, I grew up being taught to hate myself, but secretly reading about it and having this idea of our people that was kind of this glamorized romantic notion that they're aware of their native identity, they're aware that they are indigenous, and that things are on a path to be better, to be liberated. But when I came here, I noticed that no, they're still being attacked. The boot is still on our people's neck, and we have to take the responsibility to take that boot off our people's neck You know, I'm gonna quote Malcolm X here: "By any means necessary, by any means necessary." And I see that there is an urge for our Native men out there when they join gangs. You know, a lot of those represent the tribes that they're not able to join. You know, it's the tribal, it's in our blood to want to be with our brothers and fight for something, right? Anything. But I believe that with colonization, with the drugs introduced to our communities, with operations to disenfranchise us and break us down, we're not given those opportunities. We really aren't, to walk into ourselves, to actually be ourselves. You know, like I said earlier, we need to be able to open our minds, right? Like once you recognize you're Native American, you're indigenous, right? And Native American it's not just United States, it's being native to North, South, and Central America, Mexico included, obviously. But yeah, it opens a lot of room, you know? A lot of us, we think that these behaviors that might be toxic, like anger issues, anxiety, depression, all that comes from being in a current genocide. You know, we talk about what happened with the Jews, right?
Yeah.
And we see that 6 million Jews died. And I'm not trying to play the oppression Olympics, but we got to look at the numbers. 6 million Jews died in the Holocaust,
Yes.
the Nazi Holocaust. Then you have to look at the Armenian genocide. 1.5 million Armenians died, right? Terrible, awful things. Then you look at the transatlantic slave trade. 2 million African brothers and sisters died. Then you look at our people. 108 million people died. 108 million, but we're not, Native Americans, our peoples, we're not talked about as if we're a genocide or a Holocaust. Those words
never.
aren't given. Our information, our history is being suppressed, and it's for that purpose. Because if we start focusing on, hey, oh shit, what happened to them was a Holocaust, again, the door is open. We don't, we're going to want justice for our people. We're not going to want to be oppressed anymore. We're going to want to stand up. Again, awakening the sleeping giant.
Yeah, no, you're right. I'm glad you're here to share it. Now let me ask you a question, because obviously I know you by Clearbear.
Yeah.
What was your name growing up?
My name is Gabriel.
Gabriel.
My name is Gabriel. My adoptive name, the name that my parents gave me, my adoptive parents' name was Gabriel Clark Faust. Very, very European.
Yeah.
And the name Clearbear is not actually, it's in English. Our people spoke different native languages, right? My name is Tapashkar. That is my indigenous name. That means Clearbear. And that means to go after the goal of attaining a clear mind and being strong like a bear, right? Mm-hmm. Not literally being a bear, but obviously be strong, I train Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. I've been training Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu for the last several years, probably since I was 13. I'm 23 now, so 10 years. And I meditate. I take care of my mind because we have to be sharp here.
Yeah.
And I go by Clearbear. A lot of people think it's Care Bear, but when you know the native, word, it doesn't, it's Topashkar.
Well, it's better than Yogi Bear or,
Yeah, definitely. It's better than Yogi Bear. For sure.
No, man, that's good, man. I'm glad you're here to share. I'm glad you're educating us, and I'm glad and I'm hoping that this interview goes far, where people are at home listening to you, and it motivates them, inspires them to go look into this. Mm-hmm. So now, before we go to commercial break, I want to ask you a question. Say you're out somewhere lecturing,
yes,
teaching, or maybe you're out in the street and you're just sharing what you're sharing here. Somebody walks up to you and tells you, all right, buddy, where did you get all your information from? Who taught you this? What would your response be?
My response is that I've been studying this since I was very young. I mean, the first book I ever looked at about Native history was when I was 9. It was a Popol Vuh, right, which is the Maya, I guess, quote-unquote Bible. It's not referred to as a Bible, but to make it palatable to many of y'all, it's like a Bible, right? The Popol Vuh was created by the Maya peoples. But we also have to look, I also get my information from rigorous study For example, I have a community professor that I follow, Citlali Anahuac, and she's an amazing educator. She has a PhD. She teaches at different universities, and she also gives free online courses to recognizing indigenous identity. And she has taught me so much. She's been a mentor since I was very, very young. And she's a remarkable, strong indigenous warrior for her people. She keeps it in the mind, you know, because it's all about the mind, really. All of this work, when you're doing this work, it's dangerous.
Yeah.
Don't get this twisted. The Black Panthers got killed by the FBI. Many of them, they were disorganized by the FBI because they didn't want black empowerment. The same thing happened with the American Indian movement. Same thing happened. They got disenfranchised by the FBI in the COINTELPRO program. But yeah, I get my information from community professors like her. I read rigorously. To Die in This Way by Jeffrey Gold is a very good book. It's the myth of the mestizaje. So a lot of these labels that are taught to us, like Latino, mestizaje, they come from an oppressive roots, you know. Even Chicano, you know, I know this is going to be very controversial. I don't mean any disrespect.
No, it's okay.
The Chicano movement has done so much for our people. I'm not here to bag on the Chicano movement or even using the word Chicano in the sense of it being completely horrible. I'm not saying that, but I am saying that we have to look at the history of it. Mestizaje was created by a Nazi propagandist named Jose Vasconcelos, right? And he was the Secretary of Mexico, right? He wanted to Latinize the native population, right? So what happened was, he was also, first I want to say, he was also a Nazi propagandist and wrote for a Nazi magazine in Latin America called Timon. That's what he created it. He helped write for it, and he helped create it for the Nazi Party to spread that message across Latin America. And the Chicano movement, using that ideology of mestizaje, you know, obviously unknowingly, they are getting that rhetoric and mindset from a Nazi. Literally, he was part of the Nazi Party. And again, this idea of white supremacy has been, do you think they're trying to not attack our minds? I mean, you have to look at the history. They have been attacking our minds for 500 years. You've been Mexican, Latino, Hispanic, other mestizo for about 500 years. Before that, let's dig deeper. What were we on this continent? We're indigenous people. We're native people. And again, even those words are from English, Spanish, indigena. But if we have to dig deeper than that, what did our people call themselves? Well, there's many different names. We're diverse tribes.
And I want you to hold that thought because we're going to go to break.
Okay.
And we're going to come back.
I'm passionate. Sorry about that.
No,
yeah.
I love the passion, bro. So, but I want you to keep it up. So, okay, everybody, once again, call somebody, text somebody, slap the shit out of somebody, let them know that Clearbear, not to be mistaken with Clearbear, is in the motherfucking building. We'll be back 10 minutes. Don't fuck around. And welcome back, everybody, to Rolling Radio episode 176. And we're not going to mess around. We're going to go ahead and jump right back into it with Clearbear. I got to get that right, Clearbear, because I keep wanting to say something else, but Clearbear it is. So now, you were very passionate about what you were sharing, and I want to share something about your passion. It's just not a passion, it's your calling, okay? And one thing about this is that the reason why most people don't believe someone when they speak is because they're not passionate about it. When you're passionate about it, it's because you love it, you've learned it, you know what you're talking about, you believe in it, you live it, and now you're just preaching it or sharing it, okay? And I think that's what intrigues people is your passion. So now, I don't know if you remember where you left off. If you want to continue, if not, we can, move along.
Thank you. And I just want to say that I really respect that, brother. And I want to say that I respect your words, not just as another brown indigenous person, but as an elder, as someone who has been in this world much longer than I have. That means a lot to me, and it's fuel for the fire, and it motivates me, to spread the message.
You had mentioned Malcolm X, and you quoted him, and even though I'm not a Muslim, I don't consider myself one. But one thing that I can say, and I want to say this clearly because I don't want people to think, oh, you're just jockeying Malcolm X. That dude had passion, and he believed and he stood up for his people. And that's one thing that I can say that I loved about him was his passion. And I believe that's why people loved him and followed him. Was his message. It was for his people, educating his people, if you were educating themselves. And I always encourage people to educate themselves. And I'm going to continue to say throughout this interview that everything you say, I encourage others to dig into it, look into it. Don't necessarily just believe everything you say, but I'll tell you what, look into it and see if what I'm saying is true.
I'm going to use that.
Yeah.
Look into it yourself and see what I'm saying is true. Look into it.
Yeah.
I'm not here forcing you. I'm not here to do that.
Right.
But look into what I'm saying.
Yeah.
That's all I can ask my people. You know, I don't expect perfection from my people. You know, I can't expect that. Why, in, you know, from my research and what I see, there is still genocide going on.
Yeah.
I cannot expect people that are going through an ongoing genocide to be perfect in all of their knowledge and everything. That's just not fair, and that's not respectful to what is happening. That's not respectful to the struggle. So, you know,
Yeah.
I agree.
You know, just a little off topic before we get back into your message. And not too long ago, someone that I know and someone that I would consider close to me, you know, we've talked a couple of times, we've texted several times, and I've interviewed him here. And if you don't know of the situation, then we'll just move on. But I do want to bring it up because somebody wanted me to ask you. Recently, I don't want to use the word in trouble, but for lack of better words, he was almost like, you know, crucified on social media because of a guy that he hired to be in a video, and his name was Iron Jacket.
Yes.
Are you familiar with this person at all?
I am familiar with Iron Jacket. I never subscribed to what he was bringing out there because as soon as I saw him claiming that he was Chichimeca, I noticed that one, he wasn't speaking a Chichimeca language. He was speaking some Nahuatl that was, he was speaking Nahuatl language, and he was mixing northern native culture, a lot of Comanche culture, with Mexica culture, and trying to sell that off to people that that was Chichimeca, right? But the Chichimeca, not everything, but the majority of the triplets of Chichimeca are culturally extinct. You know, and again, to say that he's a lone survivor, because he said that. He said he was a lone survivor of a Chichimeca nation, and that he spoke the language. He also said that his penis could heal people, could heal young women. I think that right there is the red flag that, you know, gives it all away.
Okay.
You know, he exposed himself.
See, I didn't even know that, and I do want to say this, that
Sickening.
the person that I consider, you know, a friend, he went live and he addressed this,
Oh, I know.
and I didn't really know what he. So I began to ask people, do you know what he's talking about? You know, so and then I found out, okay, it's this guy. They call him Iron Jacket, but I never even heard what you just said right now. I never even heard, and I'm like, so this guy claims to have the magic stick. You know?
Yeah, he really does. He does claim to have the magic stick.
Wow. So, and then come to find out, correct me if I'm wrong, because this is new to me. He's a white guy?
Yes. He is a European. He's a Caucasian. He is melanin challenged. He is, yeah, he is.
So, okay, yeah. See, and from what I understand, people were crucifying this person for hiring him, and he you know, from what I understood, I know he had said something like, I had met him through somebody, and I hired him to be in this video or whatever. You know, I don't really know everything, but I just wanted you to address that.
Yeah.
To see if this guy was real or if this guy was false. But obviously, you know, and you know, and for people that may not know those languages, okay, like me from the outside looking in, if I heard him say some, I'm gonna believe him.
Exactly. You don't know, you know, and that's it's okay. It's okay. But at the same time, you know, I'm gonna use this platform to say it. He's a fraud. He's a fraud. He's a white man who is trying to portray himself as us. And he's disrespecting us. He's disrespecting the struggle. He's disrespecting the movement that we are so adamantly for by trying to get money from it. Literally, he's trying to get money for it. And a lot of people believed him. Prayers, I don't have anything against the brother. You know, I understand because a lot of our people aren't given that knowledge. It takes a lot of time to get that knowledge.
Yeah.
It takes effort. It takes consistency. And you have to be a firm disciplinarian. I understand. You have to be disciplined. So, again, it's okay. It's okay to just not know everything. You know, it's okay. So, I'm not here bashing on prayers, but, you know, at the same time, I think he should do some research if he's going to be doing that, you know. He needs to do some serious research next time. And I also do disagree with one quote that he did say, I saw him message it, he deleted it. He said that that it's okay for white people to say they're native in a transracial context. No, that's not okay. It's not okay for the white man to play Indian. It's not okay for the white man to say that they are native. It's not okay to say that they have our fucking struggle, because they don't have our struggle. This shit is real. This isn't a joke. They do not have our struggle. They can't be portraying our struggle and then getting money off of it. That's not okay. That will never be okay. Never. You know, back in the old days, if someone disrespected the community, they'd be denounced from the community or have their hands chopped off.
Wow.
That speaks for itself. I don't fuck with that.
Shit, maybe we got to go back to that. So you can't give high five anymore, but you know what? And wow, you know what? Wow. So I'm glad you answered that. So now let's move on.
Yes.
I just want to touch on this a little bit. You also shared when we spoke that you're also a model.
Yes, I am a model. That's where I get my majority of my money.
To talk a little bit about that, as far as like, what did somebody see you and say, "Hey, man, try on this shirt"?
Pretty much. Well, I was scouted by a talent agent, and they liked my look, and they said they wanted me to be a model. First, my brother was signed. His name's Hot Pa. He's a pretty well-known personality on TikTok and Instagram. And then they saw me, and I got signed shortly after. And ever since, I've been doing that. I really enjoy the work. I'm a very artistic person. I think that comes back, again, to our roots as Native people. You know, look at what I'm wearing. It's very artistic, right? So I really enjoy it. And I don't just enjoy modeling, like doing different poses. I like organizing the shoots. I like being able to represent the movement in the shoots, represent what we can be, represent a future that can happen. I think is what is really powerful to me. So I really do. I love to model. I love to act. I'm also an actor. I just wrapped up a film.
Really?
Yes. It's called Unconquered. You know.
That's dope. Okay, I have to ask you something because I don't know. Okay, so whenever I've sat in lectures, whether it was about Egyptology or the study of Israel or whatever, people always ask questions, and of course the person giving the lecture always says, there are no dumb questions, just ask, because you're never going to know unless you ask. So my thing is this: I always encourage people, ask. Some people say, well, I want to, but I was so nervous. Put that shit aside, ask.
Yes.
Okay. Now,
Respect.
have you seen the movie Apocalypto?
Yes, I have seen the movie Apocalypto.
Any opinions on it? Okay, first of all,
I have some opinions on that.
I thought it was a great movie as far as cinematography speaking.
That's fair.
Okay.
That's fair.
Now, I don't know if any of that stuff was true because I never studied it, so I'm being honest.
Yep.
Is there any kind of truth to that?
There's a bunch of half-truths.
Okay.
There's a bunch of half-truths to the way our people were depicted.
Uh-huh.
A lot of how they depicted our people was very, overly savage, right?
Okay.
When we talk about the Aztec people, they actually call themselves Mexica. That's what they actually call themselves, Mexica people. They were very regal. They weren't just, a lot of this idea of Native people, our people, we think that, I don't want to go back there because we're just, we're demonic. We're just naked people lost in the woods, lost in the jungle, right? This is what is taught to us. And again, it's for a specific purpose. You know? It's to continue this feeling of ourselves, to feel down. You want to aspire towards whiteness. Even the ideal Mexican, you look in Latin American television, you see what? You see a blonde hair, blue eyes person with a paley white skin, right? And that's the hero, right? They want you to aspire to something that you can never be and feel bad because your skin. When you breed a white supremacy, you breed a brown inferiority. When you breed a white supremacy on top, you breed a brown inferiority on bottom. That is just how that goes. They don't want you to love yourself. They don't want you to feel a certain way about yourself in a good way. They don't want you to love your dark skin. They don't want you to love your eyes that are slanted from the beautiful sun that we have. They don't want you to love yourself. And with Apocalypto, I see that same sentiment being built. Again, we wear clothing. Even we were very advanced people. Just because we weren't necessarily the most materialistic people doesn't mean we had consciousness that could, that could heal. We had medicines that could heal almost any disease. We had medicine that could heal almost any disease. Still to this day, I firmly believe that there is medicine out there in our natural practices that can heal depression, that can heal addiction, that can heal all of this. Even Dr. Sebi, are you familiar with Dr. Sebi?
Yes. Not a lot, but yes.
Yes. He got his information from a native man in Mexico.
Really?
He did. Yep.
Okay, can you say that again?
He got his information from a native man in Mexico.
Okay, that was for the people in the back.
Yep.
So they didn't hear.
Again, our knowledge of self has been suppressed for reasons so that they can continue to milk our land and resources. It's a fact. And with Dr. Sebi, he was suffering from schizophrenia, all sorts of different diseases in his organs, right? He went to the Ukraine. He went to Russia. He went to China. He went to the Middle East. He went all over, and he was looking for healing for this disease he had. Where did he go? He ended up going to Mexico. And you can find it in, I have a video that I can link. If anyone wants to DM me, I can send the video. He talks as Mexico as being, out of all the places in the world, the place that had the strongest cosmic connection is in Latin America. It's in our continent. It's in Mexico. But I know that he's ignorant because, to a certain extent, because these medicines aren't exclusive to just Mexico. They're all over. It's in Central America. It's in South America. This is practiced all over. And again, he said that the cosmic connection was with our people. It's because we've always had a cosmic connection to the spirit. The spirit of knowledge, being artistic. And again, with how they portrayed, how Mel Gibson, the director, who is a white man, mind you, portrayed our people, he barbaricized our people. He evolved the savage imagery for a modern audience. So many of y'all don't get the genuine authenticity of your people because it's corrupted, again, by the white man. Literally, it is corrupted by the white man, the colonizer. And we're very unique, artistic, special people that deserves to be honored with integrity, and we weren't. And I hate to see that, people such as yourself, our brothers and sisters and relatives, they're not given anything other than that, to see their people, to see where their brownness stems from, to see where the brown pride comes from,
Another thing that I wanted to touch on, that I wanted to bring up, and this is just pretty much just for me, okay, because I've studied the history of Egypt.
Yes.
And of course, in Egypt, I have yet to go, but I know a lot about the pyramids. But we also have pyramids in Mexico.
Yes.
Is there any connection at all? I don't know if you may know, or if not, can you give possibly anything on the pyramids in Mexico?
My belief is this, from my research, is that there could have definitely been contact, right? There could definitely be contact with the Egyptian peoples and our peoples, native peoples. And I think that, I think it's arguable. There has been no solid evidence that I have found.
Right.
I'm not saying that that's impossible. I think that many people from different continents and places have visited our peoples. I mean, we have the medicine wheel, for example. It's black, red, white, and yellow. That's been around before the Europeans even touched this land. And again, we talk about this 4 sacred races in the medicine wheel: black, white, red, and yellow. Black representing Africans, white representing Europeans, yellow representing Asians. And what do you think the red represents? It represents our people on this continent, because we're a continental people. And again, we had concepts of race. I mean, how are we going to have concepts of race if we're being lied to that we've never made contact with other peoples? We have.
Right.
Or we didn't even know about the quote unquote yellow people, the white people, the black people. I believe we had contact. That being said, I also think we need to be very, very mindful that with talking about the connection, a lot of people say that the Egyptians built the pyramids and they were here and whatnot, or the Africans came here and built the pyramids. Again, that erases the power and intelligence that our people are capable of. We have created the greatest, they don't bring this out, but we have created the biggest temple globally in the world. It's in Cholula, Mexico. That is the greatest, grandest, biggest temple out of all places, out of all the continents. Cholula has the biggest temple. Now, again, do you think they want us to know that universally, like just common knowledge? Do they think they want you to know that? No, they don't. They want you to be suppressed from this information because they don't want you to think that a brown man, a brown woman, a brown person can have this level of intelligence. But we do. We're fucking geniuses. We're fucking philosophers. You know, we put it down for our people. We've always been one with our community. You know, we're being lied to. We're being duped, and we got to do something about it. You know, and this is what Indigenous Alliance Movement is about. We're not done. We're done running, because quite frankly, we're being taught to hate ourselves. And quite frankly, that's an injustice. That's an injustice to yourself. To look in the mirror and wish you were white is an injustice to yourself. You have to love yourself. You have to know of your ancestors, because your ancestors, we believe in tobacco and honoring the land. And one of many of our tribal beliefs is that we pray for our ancestors to continue. We pray for the 7 generations that are going to follow forward. And then when they were getting colonized, when they were getting raped, abused, and tortured, they prayed for you. They prayed for their ancestors to survive, to continue. And every time we dishonor that by calling ourselves Latino and Hispanic, the genocide continues. The genocide of our fucking minds. We have to wake up. So let's get ready. Educate yourself. Be disciplined. They don't want you disciplined. They want you to feel para mejorar la raza. They want you to feel that be with the white man. That's what they want. Be better. Fight colonialism. Be a native warrior.
Well, if you don't educate yourself, you're going to be stuck. I think the same way.
Yeah.
You know, it's funny because I've had neighbors growing up, and we used to watch the Brady Bunch. Are you familiar with the Brady Bunch?
Yeah,
Okay.
I am.
And it's funny because all my buddies used to think us watching, you know, that was one of our favorite shows.
Yes.
For some reason, we all thought that watching Brady Bunch, that's the way a family should be.
Exactly.
Honestly, that's the way a family should be, okay? And I want to be like that. I've had friends, you know, I would never say their names, but we were youngsters. You know, we were, I guess, in elementary school. I want a white woman.
Yeah.
And I'm going to tell you exactly why I'm sharing this story. Because he was dark-skinned.
Speak it.
And he said, and I said, well, why would you want a white woman for? One with blue eyes and blonde hair.
Yeah.
He said, because I know if I get with her, I'll get accepted and they'll start calling me way back.
It's real.
Yeah, no, that is
Thank
real.
you for sharing that. That's real. You know, you look at our mothers, you look at our grandmothers, you look at our elders, and they're infected with the disease of white supremacy. I mean, look at what they do to their hair. They dye it blonde. They wear blue eye contacts. You think that's accidental? That is a continuation of the mental warfare they have plagued on indigenous people. Again, study it and see it for yourself, but that's what it is. This is a continuation of the mental warfare. It's time to come home to ourselves. That's what it's about. And again, no one is going to save you. To echo what you were just saying, no one is going to save you. No one is going to save you but yourself. No one is going to save you. There is no one. I can't be here for every single one of us. I am, even as big as it can get, won't be there for every single one of us. Because, again, there's places where they might not be able to have this certain information. But again, we have to learn to save ourselves.
You know, I want to share something really quick, okay? Because I do believe that it's something that we do have to bring up. And I hope my YouTube page doesn't get shut down when I say this.
Okay.
But you got people, let's just say people like Bob Marley.
Yeah.
Okay. He spoke and the government believed that he was starting to get too powerful, too much following. And I get this information, this is public knowledge, what I'm sharing, that I believe this was either a former FBI agent or somebody that worked for the government, and he confessed, and it was released that right before he died, he said that he was ordered to kill Bob Marley. Okay, he said he had to befriend him because that's what he was ordered. And but he said the thing was that Bob Marley won him over, and he was genuinely a good man, but he had to go and pretty much finish what he was sent out to do. So he said he had to get that off his chest before he died. So then you take people, and this is not in a role, but you take people like Malcolm X. He was a voice for his people. He was killed.
Yes.
Then you take people like, let's just say Martin Luther King. He was killed.
Yep.
You know, we can go on and on and on. And let's look at certain rappers. Let's take a look like Eazy-E. Okay, he died of AIDS. People say no, he was injected with AIDS. We don't know. As a matter of fact, I heard that his daughter's coming out with a documentary on how he died. Then you look at people like Tupac. Then you look at people like Biggie Smalls. Eazy-E died 1 year, the next year Tupac, and the following year Biggie Smalls. Okay, one after another, after every year. Is it a coincidence, or they started getting too big? They had too much of a voice. They had too much of a following, so we take them out. My question to you is: do you ever fear that you're becoming too much of a voice, that now you could put yourself in harm's way, possibly?
You know, Huey P. Newton said this really good, and I want to share this quote. For those of you who don't know who that brother is, he was part of the Black Panther Party, and he said this. This might be a misquote, but essentially the meaning of what he was saying was, the role of a revolutionary is to know that he is doomed. I know that if I continue this path, it will lead to that.
Yeah.
And I'm fully willing to go if that means liberation for my people. Because I'm done. I'm done.
Right.
I'm done with it.
And to think that you're done and you're 23 only. That means you've seen, heard a lot, been through a lot. You know, you've been woken up by this knowledge that you've received, and people that you've learned from, and people that have shared with you, like what you said, the professors and these books that you have read, and meeting with other people. You've if I can use this term, you've woken up. You know who you are, and like you say, it's time for our people to wake up and educate and realize who we are.
Yes.
You know. I know you mentioned the word Chicano.
Yes.
I saw an interview one time when they were interviewing Cheech Marin from Cheech and Chong.
Yes.
And he said this, and I'm just going to paraphrase because I don't know it word for word. He said, when I went to Mexico, they didn't consider me Mexican because they didn't think I was Mexican enough. Here, I was a wetback.
Yes.
He said, so I just called myself Chicano because I was from Califas right here. So I believe that that's many times the reason why people just call themselves Chicano, because they're just not looked at as one of,
And I know it's a hard pill to swallow with what I have to say, because, many or most of you, your entire lives, you've called yourself Mexican, Latino, Hispanic. You called yourself a Salvadorian. You called yourself Colombian. You've called yourself Peruvian, Guatemalan. And, you could go through all the Latin, quote unquote, countries, and, the same thing.
Right.
The same thing happened to our people. Again, these identities were created, even the Mexican identity, it was created by European Spaniards for the specific purpose of taking you away from knowing that you're native, practicing your culture, because they wanted to prevent what were called casta wars, which were indigenous uprisings.
Yeah.
And I think another important note that I want to put is in 1930, the census of Mexico, right? They had a, I'm sorry, I'm having a little bit of brain fart.
Take your time.
Yeah. In 1930, there was a census, and they, and this is documented, that 30% of the indigenous population was labeled mestizo, right? It was labeled mestizo. Again, they note this in a lot of their writings, the Spanish colonizers, that they wanted to prevent indigenous uprisings. They didn't want they didn't want any of our brothers, sisters, and relatives to know that they're native. They did not. And, and also, people like to think that, stop living in the past, it was just, 500 years ago, stop living 500 years ago. And it's actually a lot more recent than that, because there was a, sorry, just brain fart. There was a suppression of native language up until it was 1820. Yeah, in 1820, 60%, 60 to 70% of the native population, right, spoke a Native American language. So that means you speaking Spanish, all of our people speaking Spanish, is recently introduced just 200 years ago. And I know 200 years ago seems like a long time, but it really wasn't. That means the majority of your great-great-grandparents were speaking Native American language. Mm-hmm. You're in your bloodline, the possibility of that happening is very, 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 very high. You, all y'all, your great-great-grandparents, most likely were speaking Native American languages. It's a fact. Very, very, very powerful information.
No, that is true. That is true.
You know, think about that. What does that say about the resistance that has taken place? You know, a lot of people like to say, oh, it's been 500 years, we were colonized 500 years ago. No, that's only 200 years ago. And if this can happen in only 200 years where predominantly of us are speaking Spanish, then the opposite can happen. We can learn our ways again. We can learn how to be native. We can learn it. And again, I don't subscribe to the idea that there's prerequisites or criteria to be authentically native.
Wow.
You, right now, you're experienced as a displaced native, not knowing your tribe or whatnot.
Right.
You're valid. You're valid as a native person because your experience is a native experience. And again, that's decolonization.
Right.
It's recognizing that. And it's a lot to take in.
Right.
Oh shit, I'm native. What the fuck? It's a trip.
Right.
It's a trip. And again, a lot of people like to say, oh, but I'm mixed. I'm mixed. I can't claim native because you have to be full-blooded. Whose criteria is that? That's from the European colonizer. Blood quantum was implemented on our people to separate us from ever going back. And again, this is going on. It's going on. It's very real. Even if you're full-blooded native, right? And you grew up in a native community in Mexico, and you spoke your native language, and you practice your native culture, it's in law in Mexico, as soon as you move away from your community and you move into the city, you're mestizo, you're mixed, even if you're full-blooded. So again, the warfare is there.
Okay, I see what you're saying. Yeah.
You see?
Yeah.
The warfare is there. They don't want you knowing you're native. They don't want you at all knowing.
Well, Clearbear, we've come to our conclusion of our interview, the end of our interview. So now, but look, I found it so interesting. I want to invite you back. So in the future, I would like to have you back. Okay. Yeah. And we'll take longer. We'll give you full episode, and then we educate us.
Yeah.
Okay. Now let me ask you this: if people possibly wanted to hear you speak again, are you speaking anywhere soon at all?
It's interesting you say that. I'm an open book. Wherever you want me at, I'm speaking. I'm going there because I have a, like you said, I have a life mission. My life mission is to educate my people about their history that is being suppressed to this day. The genocide is going on. And you need to know about your native roots or they're going to keep manipulating us. I don't want that anymore.
Okay.
And but right now I am doing classes at Los Angeles College Prep Academy, and I'm teaching it about decolonization and reconnecting and understanding our native identity. So everything I said, this is just a tip of the iceberg.
Yeah.
It gets layered. It gets layered upon layered upon layered. You want to know who you are? I recommend going to this class. I really do. I sincerely do. And again, I'm not going to feed you any bullshit. I'm here. And that's every Saturday and Sunday, 1 to 3 p.m. Los Angeles College Prep Academy. I'm there and I'm speaking. I'm a community professor. I'm talking about this. And if you want me to speak at any events or engagements, I am, you can follow me on Instagram. It's topash.scar. I'm sure our brother here is going to write it down in the description.
Yeah, it's actually in the description and it's been popping up. So you said Tupac, not Tupac, right?
Yeah, not Tupac. But that's actually a native name.
Yes, I heard about that. I heard about that. Man, I felt like I was in class. But okay, you know what? At this point, any shout outs? Anybody you want to give a shout out to? Anybody you want to diss? Go ahead.
I want to shout out Citlali Anahuac of the Decolonial Education Program she's doing free on YouTube. She has enlightened me a lot. And I also want to shout out all my brothers, sisters, and relatives who are out here fighting for the cause. I want to shout out to all the women who have been fighting this war. And I want to apologize sincerely that I wasn't here sooner and I wasn't healed to the point where I could be a better man and a better person. So, I'm here to go for the people. by any means necessary. Quoting Malcolm X again, I'm here for the people. Thank you so much. Stay brown, stay proud.
Awesome. So with that being said, thank you once again, Clearbear, for giving me the opportunity to interview you.
Thank you.
Next time, like I said, we'll give you a full set and let you go.
Yeah.
You know, and next time, if you can, maybe bring some resources so you can recommend like certain readings that people can look into it. You know what I'm saying?
Yes. I will bring a long list of readings.
Yeah. I think that'll be good so that people can look into it themselves, because
Exactly.
I think it's important that we encourage people to look into everything you just said.
Yes.
You know, if somebody wants to like say, I'm going to find out that this guy's lying, let me look into it. And before you know it, like, oh shit, it's true.
Yeah, I mean, most of this information, I have specific sources, but it'd be just a long list of sources, and that would take a lot of time. And again, I don't have them all written down, and I didn't memorize them to the top of my head. But I do recommend that everything I'm saying, you can find in a Google search. I recommend looking into the casta system, which was the racial hierarchy that was implemented in Mexico and Latin America. Again, it had white people at the top. They were able to earn certain property and hold certain positions and be in governmental positions. Well, the more mixed you were with being native or black, the more lower status you would have. Even in Mexico to this day, Latin America to this day, you can see the evidence. You know, the dark native people are on the street. The lighter you are, the more power you hold.
Very true. Look at TV.
TV is evidence as well.
So, okay, everybody, once again, call somebody, text somebody, slap the shit out of somebody, let them know that Clearbear is in the motherfucking building. We'll be back with Viva Mescal, not to be confused with Viva Las Vegas. So we'll be back 10 minutes. Welcome back, everybody. Episode 176, and we're gonna go ahead and jump right back into it. Viva Mescal, how you doing?
What's poppin', man? I'm doing great.
You know what? That was a pretty interesting message right there, huh?
That was powerful. I'm still kind of processing everything right now. That was crazy.
You know, those type of, I guess if you want to call them lectures or, if you will, knowledge being shared, it's always very, I don't want to use the word entertaining, but very educational as well.
Right.
You know,
It's interesting.
yeah, because I've heard people speak and their information was great, but they were boring as hell.
Right.
But he was passionate.
Very true.
You know, and I think that's the reason why a lot of people don't believe certain people, because they're not passionate about it.
And it's refreshing to see a young man, you know, like I'm not that much older than him, you know. I don't want to admit it, but
You don't want to give up your age.
yeah, but you know, to see someone younger with his head on straight and just kind of real direct and passionate on what he wants to do, and his message is really refreshing.
You know, I read something interesting that I want to read to you really quick that pretty much describes your music before we jump into it. Okay. Viva Mescal is a Mexican-American rapper from East Los Angeles, California. His style, this is the part, the style of hip-hop is a blend of boom bap and underground soul with an influence of modern Chicano culture.
That's nice.
That's pretty dope. I like that. Yeah, man.
Shouts out to whoever wrote my bio. I forgot who wrote it, but shouts out to you. It might have been the homie Vio or maybe the homie Ricardo, but that's nice. That's a nice way to put it.
Okay, before we get into it, what is Viva Mescal? Like, how did you come up with that? Because I don't think Mescal, I'm thinking about the drink.
Right.
Okay, so
the name itself, my first rap name was Mezcalito. So the mythology around it is, if you do the psychedelic peyote, the cactus, right? You meet this spirit guide named Mezcalito.
Oh,
so
shit.
once I learned about this, I was like, man, that's badass, you know, like
right.
that's kind of how I could picture myself, this spirit guide, this, you know, I don't got the answers, but I'm going to ask a lot of questions and I'm going to try to provoke you a little. And
right.
That's kind of the mythology around it. You do peyote in the desert, Mezcalito come out, he might be nice to you, he might mess with you, he might show you something you don't want to know. And it's like almost this little mischievous spirit, but also very, very tied in with the land and with the culture. And I fell in love with that mythology, and I said, all right, this is going to be my name, Mezcalito.
Have you ever took that journey?
I've done other things similar, but I've never done peyote itself.
So you never met Mezcalito?
I've never met him, besides just channeling him through my own shit, you know? But people have offered me. Okay. And then they get offended when I say no, you know? Because fools will be like, hey, what's up? Let's do some peyote if I know how to get it. And I'm like, no, I'm good. What kind of Mezcalito are you? I'm just like, no, I just don't want to do drugs with you, bro. I mean, in all fairness, I don't know you.
Right,
I don't really feel like taking this deep spiritual journey with your ass just because you think I should, you know?
Right. Now, let me ask you, from what little you know, I guess, of this peyote, how long does that trip last? Do you know?
I know it's hours and hours. I mean, I've experimented with mushrooms before, with acid, mescaline, which is the synthesized version of peyote, is mescaline.
Okay.
So that's why it's like the name Mezcalito, and then the synthesized version mescaline comes from calling it mezcal.
Okay.
And then it just so happens that the drink is also called mezcal. So my fans will bring me bottles of mezcal, and I'm like, which I do enjoy, but it's like, it doesn't really, or other fools will call me out, be like, you're supposed to spell your name with a Z. You don't know how to spell your name. And I'm like, nah, it's actually from Mezcalito, but I don't mind explaining it, you know? So
right. Okay.
it's pretty fun. I like how people may think it's one thing and then it's something completely different, you know? So, but yeah, I changed the name from Mezcalito to Viva Mescal just from, there's other DJs, there's other art pieces, there's even like Delinquent Habits song, they have a song called Mezcalito. So if you were just to search that, you're going to see many things, you know?
Okay.
So once I got to the point where I started kind of getting a fan base a little bigger, I was like, let me do a name change. And I don't know if it was me and Muds one day, and I was like, what do you think about Viva Mescal? Like, I just throw the Viva in front so that whenever someone says my name, they have to say long live. Like,
Viva.
They're giving, you know, they're putting some fucking, you know,
Mexican
some
sauce.
yeah, it's like con ganas, you know? So I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna run with that. And I didn't really think about it too much, you know? I was just like, I'm one of those people, you could call your thing anything. It's what you put into it. It's ultimately what, you know, the work you put in, then people are going to attach, you know, the positives to it. It's never just a make or break off of a name necessarily, you know?
Okay. Now, do you know, before we switch gears, do you know anyone that has met Mezcalito?
No. I've only read stories. Wow, what is his name? It's like Don Manuel or something, and he's the famous dude who went into, it's called Mezcalito's Adobe. It's somewhere in Mexico. It's like central Mexico, and you go there and there's peyote everywhere. And you cut it up and you do the whole ritual and he'll appear. So maybe bucket list, I would love to do that one day.
Right.
You know?
Right.
But you
so
know,
is that a real person?
it's like a spirit guide. I've even seen, if you Google Mezcalito, like the spirit guide, you'll see paintings people have tried to portray of him, but he almost looks like an actual physical cactus, like
Oh shit.
in almost like a human form. But
Maybe Nopalito
like
should be his name.
yeah, exactly. So
Okay. So now, you know, for those that may not know who Viva Mescal is, because I'm sure you got a lot of fan base, where are you originally from? Where did you grow up at?
Boyle Heights, born and raised. I still live there today. So
Really?
yeah, born at White Memorial Hospital, and my son was born there 5 months later. 5 months ago. So he was born in the same hospital as I was.
Congratulations,
So
man. That's
thank
awesome.
you.
That's awesome. Now, you know, if you hear fireworks, because there's some fucking tweakers that are still blasting that
Oh
bullshit.
yeah.
Okay.
Right there at home is like that all
bro.
day.
So with that, there's been a lot of people that have come here that are from Boyle Heights. You know, and in all fairness, bro, I have to be honest, a lot of talent has come out of Boyle Heights. So I want to give a shout out to Boyle Heights.
Yep.
You know, Boyle Heights is in the building. So my boy Big Cedric from Boyle Heights. And if I'm correct, I believe my homegirl Dolly Girl is from Boyle Heights.
I also, I don't know Dolly too well, but I've met her plenty of times. And when I first started coming up, you know, she was doing a bunch of shows and really like putting it on. So another dope talent.
My boy Ronin Gray, we just had his interview here. He calls himself a native of Boyle Heights.
Right.
And he also introduced me to this, I don't want to butcher his name, so please forgive me. He's a Russian cat that does, I believe, hood vlogs.
Right.
And he just did one on me and took me all around, you know, Wilmington, as far as me explaining, you know, where I would.
I think Ronan did one of those for him, right?
Right.
Like in different hoods.
Right.
I think I saw that.
Right. Yeah. So mine hasn't came out yet, so hopefully it comes out soon. I'm kind of like, I want to see myself talk about myself.
Right.
But now, okay, so you grew up there. Now, growing up in a Mexican home, okay, what type of music were you raised with? Like, what did your mother, your father play?
My mom was like into a little bit of everything, really, but like oldies. I remember my mom having like Smokey Robinson records and Mary Wow's records, and then, you know, I grew up in the golden age of hip hop, you know, the early 90s. So my dad was a huge Tupac fan, a huge Ice Cube fan.
Really?
My uncles would bump, like, by the time like my uncle started getting older and I would look up to them for music, because one of my uncles was a DJ, they would bump everything from East Coast, Wu-Tang, you know, Tribe Called Quest, to like Southern, like Master P, like No Limit and True, like like that crazy like shit. Like I remember being like 5-6 years old, being in the car and like my uncle bumping some shit from like New Orleans and shit, like some southern music, and then even as far as like Bay Area music, my uncle loved Too Short. So I remember listening to Freaky Tales when I'm like 7 years old in the back, like, what the fuck is this talking about? Like, and you know, it's like I had those cool uncles, man. They used to take me to all the movies they shouldn't have and play all the music they probably shouldn't have. So I knew all the NWA songs. I knew all. But, you know, at the same time, too, I grew up on just like the radio, too, you know. So whatever was popping on the radio, I remember knowing all the Will Smith tracks, or like Whoop, There It Is, or whatever was like a top like song. Like me and my brothers just loved it, you know. We grew up heavy on hip hop. And at the same time, we got our exposure, you know, to the rancheras. We got exposure to, you know, different Spanish stuff, from salsa to, you know, cumbias to, you know, a little bit of everything. It's a trip. And then some of my uncles were like jazz heads and would play, you know, random jazz records and stuff like that. And so was a crazy palette of music,
Right,
you know.
right. Okay.
But I gravitated to hip hop. I just
Right.
I love rap, and I love just the art of poetry and talk. You know, back in the day, fools would rap. Like, even on the streets, fools had raps in the way they talked. They was just like natural storytellers. Fools would come up to you and be like, yo, tell you a story, and ask you for $1 right after they told the story. And you'd be like, that was a good ass story. Let me give this fool $1. Like, and like, it was funny because like that was a form of rap to me. Like,
Right.
you being able to talk that shit, the gift of gab, you know?
They asked Isaac Hayes one time what he felt about rap, because he's a musician and / actor. And he said rap, and not that he was dissing, he goes, man, to me that just meant talking. I'm gonna go
Right.
rap to this cat over here.
Exactly.
You know, so that's
Exactly.
pretty much what it meant. Now, you said back in the days, dudes used to rap, you know, on the street or whatever. Do you like where rap is at today compared to what it was you growing up?
Yes and no. I mean, I'm a contemporary of my time, so I'm gonna be a little biased. And
Okay.
although there's probably elements of shit such as foods can't really freestyle anymore, and there's lost the live element. I feel like a lot of fools who be rapping now, especially in the rap game, if you're talking like newer cats, a lot of them can't really perform. And I've
Right.
caught cats who are dope, and they are, you know, their music's dope,
Right.
but they just like lackluster performers. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? And I'm like, dude, you couldn't get away with this shit 10, you know, it's
Yeah.
even just 10 years ago, but let alone 15, 20 years ago, they would have threw your ass off a stage, you know,
Right.
like you had to come with, and then not only that, you probably had to rap, dance. I mean, fucking look at Dr. Dre, he had to dress up and do the whole thing with like, that was the normal, you know what I
Right,
mean?
right.
Like you had to put on the whole show. And now it's like, nah, you have your online following, you could come out, fools would just stand still and just spit their raps and even have the vocals over them and just like kind of the lazy. So like that part I don't enjoy, but there's other parts of the rap game I do like, where if you're young and you coming up, this is probably the best time to ever be an
Yes.
artist. I mean, without a doubt, you know, like
That part is very, very true, and I have to agree with you. I want to share something with you. If you've never heard it, I want to challenge people. Now that we have Google, go look it up, okay? You ever heard of a group called PM Dawn? They came out in the early 90s,
PM Dawn.
okay? It was two brothers.
Can't
okay?
say that I have, but maybe
Okay,
I have.
When you get a chance, look up PM Dawn, and then there was an altercation with KRS-One.
Okay.
They sampled a European group called Spandau Ballet. The sample was a song called True, which is a beautiful song, don't get me wrong. But they sampled it and they rapped over it, and it was like some candy shit during the heart of when hip hop was fucking thriving.
Okay.
So they came with some candy shit and they were calling it hip hop.
All right.
When they performed, KRS-One went up on stage, and I'm not gonna lie to you, and threw them both off stage. Okay?
Right.
Look it up, everybody.
But that's the environment that
Yes.
hip hop was kind of born in.
Yes, that we're not going to bring that into hip hop. So he was trying to stop it. I'm not going to say I'm ever going to disrespect somebody and throw their ass off stage. They're
Right,
trying to
right.
make a living or whatever, following their dream. But when you got like 1,000 rappers today, all mumbling on purpose, you know, like if they just finished drinking a gallon of lean, you know, I'm like, when is this shit going to stop?
Yeah.
You know, that's what I'm not into,
Yeah,
because
it seems like it's regressing a lot in that
Yes.
sense. I do see other examples of like standout artists who kind of go away from the grain, but shit, it's almost like homie was saying, like there's this agenda
Yeah.
to dumb people down, not just culturally or, you know, from your identity of like, you know, for you know, how you grew up or your race and all this, but just to be a consumer, just to say, hey, this works, go and do this. Mumble, go get a bunch of tattoos that have nothing to do with your lifestyle, you're bringing up, and just do it, you know, and do whatever it takes to kind of fake it till you make it type shit. And people get rewarded so much for it that it just sets up a system, and it's only gone up. I feel like now it's like even probably worse than it was when I started rapping. Where we thought, like when I first started, it was like the club, the Yin Yang Twins and Lil Jon was really popping, but you still had underground and indie hip hop hitting. And I thought, oh, indies are gonna take it over, and we're gonna have more conscious rappers, and just because look at the world we live in, there's
Yeah.
gonna be more voices that speak on it. But the opposite happened.
Opposite, of course.
More of the club took over, and not only that, but more of it's rewarded. So it's like, how do you beat that when you're gonna show and you get rewarded for fucking dumbing yourself down? You know, it's a really tough equation to try to beat. You know,
and it's very, very true. You know, you could have somebody like yourself. You could have some of these underground rappers that are very, very underrated, great music, are lyricists. Okay, and then you have a guy over here. And then you don't understand what the fuck he's saying. He probably just scribbled and said that scribble is and this is and it sounded like he was chewing, trying to talk. Okay, and then what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna get a gang of tattoos. I'm gonna smoke weed. I'm gonna shake my ass, have girls twerking, paint my hair in a weird color.
Yeah.
And the label say that's it.
Yep.
Meanwhile, the guy who's over here, who's a lyricist, who's pretty much selling his soul to this game. And when I say selling his soul, you know, I mean like he's really giving his all.
Giving it all, yeah.
Ain't being rewarded for the talent, but people are being rewarded for the gimmick.
Right.
And that's what I mean, the gimmick. I'm just not into this gimmick rap bullshit.
Right.
You know,
and it gets transparent, and you know, you could just tell there's certain artists or certain realities of the music industry, and you see it. And kind of when you're in the room with it, that's when it's like, oh, fuck, this is really how it is. Like, they're really looking at that, dude. They're really trying to promote that. And it gets deeper. Why? Probably because they want to keep people dumb. They want to just keep our people and minority people spending money and high and drunk and just not giving a fuck. You know, it's like just apathetic. You know what I mean? It really is. I get shit time, you know, people will tell me shit because I'm too positive in my music, or like say,
how can you be too positive?
That's why I'm just like, what the fuck, you know? And it's like how did that happen, you know? And at the same time, on the flip side, you get people who show you love on the, you know, on those tracks, and when you put your heart out there, you will be surprised of the people who feel it and maybe needed to hear that rhyme and needed to hear that shit, you know? So it's kind of like a double-edged sword. You take it as it comes, but yeah, it's far and in between.
Yeah.
If I go to a show, I mean, I'm probably gonna hear, you know, in any scope of a hip hop show or a rap show, you're probably gonna hear the majority of that type of music of, you know, consumerism, like make money, fuck bitches, fuck around, and like hip hop's always had that element. Because people will argue to that, man. They've had it since the conscious days, since the 80s, since the 90s. It was always shake your booty music. Yeah, but it wasn't the majority. You know what I mean?
Back then, we were rapping about slanging and banging. Today, I'm popping pills. I'm drinking this. You know,
yeah.
I'll hang myself while jacking off. You know, some bullshit. But I just don't get it. But oh well, let's move on. Are you a fan? Might be a silly question because I know, but I have to ask you for the fans' sake. Are you a fan of East Coast rap?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I'll actually be in New York. I'm flying out tomorrow.
That's right.
So it's like going to the Mecca, you know, like that feeling, you know. And
of course.
I've been there only one time before, but it's real. You know, you go there and you can see how embedded hip hop culture is, and you walk, you see fools flowing on the corner. You know what I mean? Like just spitting ciphers just to pass the time, and that's just like, damn, that's, you know. Well,
I always tell people, and Roadium Radio fans always know that I always encourage people, if you truly love hip hop and you know you love this culture, go to New York. You got to go at least once. You know, take the tour. You know, if you know somebody that lives there, better. Go to Harlem, go to Bronx, go to Brooklyn, go to Queens. You know, take the whole tour.
Yeah.
Only thing I haven't done yet is get on the subway. I got on the subway before, but to go all the way to Coney Island. The reason why I want to go there because I'm a big fan of the Warriors. You ever see the movie The Warriors? Yeah. So I need to go there. You know, and eat a Coney Island hot dog.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's what I want.
But yeah, East Coast hip hop has definitely been, you know, a big influence. I feel like when I kind of discovered that further, like East Coast hip hop, I was so heavy West Coast. It was just embedded. Like I said, my dad was a huge Tupac fan, huge Ice Cube fan, huge Dr. Dre fan, and even fools who would slang their CDs out the car, my dad was pull over and buy their CDs, you know? So it'd be fools on the come up, just random people, you know? So, you know, I would be exposed on that, and then I got a little older and I discovered Wu-Tang and Tribe, like I was saying.
Okay, that's where I'm going.
And it's just different.
Yes, I need to ask you, top 5 either groups or top 5 albums or top 5 rapper from the East Coast that you can say those are like my top 5.
That's tough. I mean, just to like shoot them off the top, like you know, obviously, like I was saying, Wu-Tang's up there. I love Wu-Tang. Just even from the members, like, to me, the Jizza is my favorite because he's the smart, technical, you know, rapper. That's kind of how I am, and that's someone I looked up to, you know. I got to throw Big Pun in there because he was a big influence, too. But even, like, I mean, I'm a fan of Jay-Z. I love Nas. Just to throw those up there, and then maybe just someone on, like a sleeper. I don't know, man. It's tough. There's too many of them. Put me on the spot. I'm trying to like search my playlist to what I really love, you know? I don't know. What's another good one? We'll just say, man, I don't even know, bro. I'll just say, I don't know. It's too many in my head. Now I'm drawing a blank.
Biggie?
Biggie.
Okay,
Throw Biggie up there.
Okay. Top 5 West Coast artists, groups, or albums.
Tupac, NWA, Ice Cube. Let's see.
Okay, when we say NWA, we'll include Dre and Cube in there. Okay.
Dre and Cube in there already, but I'm a big fan of Eazy too. I grew up heavy on Eazy. You know, to me, when I was coming up, I thought Eazy. Well, I mean, everyone did, but he was the man. You know, like he was like the top dog. And then as the years rolled by, you know, you had Dre. I loved Exhibit coming up, everything he put out. And then even more on modern, like, you know, of course, the documentary, The Game. Early on, I really loved his stuff. I haven't really kept up with his stuff recently. You know, and then other West Coast cats like Far Side and Bay Area cats, Too Short. Okay. Grew up on Too Short, you know. Okay. I think like, and then it goes into like production and stuff. Like I love Mad Lib stuff. I love, you know, some of the underground cats. Like I wasn't heavy on it, but since I'm a part of it, you know, like 2Mex and Freestyle Fellowship, Merce. These are all fools who have influenced me greatly. You know?
And that's where I was going. Now, as far as underground, maybe give me 5 that you really dig, that you really like. This is my shit right here.
Yeah, I would throw Merce in there. You know, like I would throw, you know, like some of the modern shit. Like, oh man, I mean, I got bias of my own, like in my crew. Like I still love my homie Mad Max, who's in the crew and the underground cat. You know, Mortal Technique, for being for a while, Mortal Technique was our dude. You know, he was just that dude on top. Yeah, I think right there, that's solid. You know. Okay,
would you include a guy like Tech 9 in there?
Yeah, Tech 9 definitely, especially like the last 10 years, 5-10 years, he's been the #1 indie. You know, with Strange Music, as just even as like an MC trying to come up. If you look at him. You know, and then I go into that like Tech 9, Royce the 5'9", who I've been a big fan of since the Eminem days. But if you look at his trajectory the last 5-7 years, shit, he's turned an underground career into like as close as you could do mainstream, but still being indie. You know, right. Same thing with like say Freddie Gibbs or a cat like that, like someone who just stays true to their craft, stays true to their sound, and then just didn't sell out, and somehow got the benefits of the big industry type attention. You know, I think that's a dope niche for like artists to follow. That's what I've tried to kind of like look for them as examples, you know. Even if I'm not playing their music so heavy, I'll follow almost everything they do, from how they present their album, how their business moves are going and stuff like that. Like I think I look more now into that than actual like rocking with an MC because their catalog, weirdly enough, you know. I really enjoy the overall artistry of it and people who pay attention to those details, you know.
Okay. You know, let me ask you something, because a lot of people do not bring up Immortal Technique, okay? But I want to ask you something because I know his fan base is huge, okay? What is it about him that you really, really enjoy? What is it about him that like, oh, you know what, I love his shit, you know? What is that one thing? Is there anything that stands out to you?
It's almost like hearing homie talk right before this. It's that red pill, that truth, you know, the red or blue pill. Which one Morpheus gonna ask you? You want to go back into the Matrix, or you want? And you know, Immortal Technique was kind of one of those red pills. If you knew if you were bumping him, you weren't necessarily subscribed to all the mainstream shit, and he's pushing some thought-provoking shit, you know,
Right.
from questioning, you know, all the colonialism and all the government. I mean, saying fuck the government on and that's why he's left off. You know what I mean? That's why he's left off those lists and off those things. But and then on top of that, being just so lyrically dope and so passionate. Tech was like the closest to Tupac for a second. Like, I mean, when you see him live, it's like, fuck, you know, it just has that overwhelming energy. So that's what has always drawn me, you know. Another underground cat I like is Lupe Fiasco. Lupe was killing for for a few years around when I first started rapping. He's dropping mixtapes and just like real dope shit. I kind of missed him on the underground list, but I fuck with Lupe.
That's good, man. So are you performing out there in New York?
Yeah, I'll be doing some shows out there with Young Baka Productions. We actually got 2 shows in Brooklyn, 1 show in Queens, and then I recently got hit up to do something at Washington Square Park. Mm-hmm. The homies do a pop-up and actually do like a silent listening experience. So you get an app and then you just put on your headphones and you could hear everything we're doing, so they don't have to bump it on the loudspeakers, so they're not violating any laws or anything. So it's some pretty cool shit. But yeah, they just booked me for that on a Saturday afternoon in Washington Square Park. So
that's dope. You know, and I want to say something. Like, I think it's a blessing, man, that we from out here can go to New York and perform, because me growing up, there was always an East Coast, West Coast bias thing.
Right.
Not too many of us went over there.
Right.
You know, not too many. If you did, you know, because you were a big name, you know. But even back then, I mean, you heard Snoop and the whole dog pound up in New York. What, you got no love for us?
I remember being a kid being like, fuck the East Coast, you know, I'm like a 6-7-year-old, like talking shit like if I know, and it's like I didn't have the understanding of the scope.
Right.
You know.
But it's always been like that, man. And I have a lot of East Coast friends. Some admit it, some don't.
Right.
You know, but I interviewed a guy here named Soren Baker who used to pretty much work for the Bible magazine, The Source. And he said that
they like leave the West Coast cats off,
well,
right?
He knew that the West Coast was outselling by huge numbers the East Coast. Right. He said, you know what? The East Coast made it look like Puffy and Biggie and, you know, Little C's were right up there with Dre, The Chronic, you know, Death Row. He goes, and that was, he said it was like this.
Right, because, I mean, Dre and them were doing like rock star numbers, right? Like,
he said, and they were like this. He said, but if you were in the East Coast, they made it seem like they were like this. He said, because every time they released the Source magazine, they would put an East Coast artist on it. He said, well, what about these guys? He was in bias. He just wanted to be fair. And I interviewed him here. And so he finally went up to somebody who was big up there in the Source and asked him, is this a East Coast magazine or a hip hop magazine? Then that's what he asked him. He never told me the answer. He said, because all you're doing is just shining light on East Coast artists, and they're being outshined and outsold on the West Coast. Right. You know, so for you to go out there, I think it's dope, man. It's a blessing.
It really is. And I think when I went there last time, there was a lot of love for for the West Coast, you know, and just for LA in general. You know, we get a lot of love wherever we go. I'll rock my Dodger hat or I'll rock a Laker hat, and it's the conversation starter. You know, what's up, bro? Oh, you from LA? Boom, boom. You know, so it's been love. I haven't really, obviously that was a long time ago, and I'm sure there's still cats that know that, but you know, I think hip hop is so global now too.
Yes, it is.
You know?
Yes, it is. And I think what helps us going over there, it's sad to say that a lot of the music sounds the same now. Yeah. Back then, you know, you had the Wu-Tangs, you had the Tribe Called Quest, you had the the Mobb Deeps, okay?
Right.
You know, the Big Puns, we all had our own sound.
Right.
You know, West Coast had their own sound.
Right.
Now a lot of it sounds the same, so I think a little bit is they're more lenient on letting everybody go over there because we all sound the same now.
Yeah.
I wish we can go back to having our own sound. That's just me. So,
True.
But now.
That's interesting though. That's an interesting point.
So we're going to go ahead and take a 10-minute break. We're going to come right back and we're going to pick up, and I want to talk about the first time you recorded yourself and heard yourself on playback.
All right.
So, okay, everybody. I think I'm about to probably crack open a beer. So make sure you call somebody, text somebody, slap the shit out of somebody, let them know that Viva Mescal is in the motherfucking building.
Yes,
we'll
sir.
be back 10 minutes. I'm already sounding like I'm on lean. So. You'll call somebody, text somebody, slap the shit out of somebody. Let them know that Roadium Radio is live up in this biatch. You'll call somebody, text somebody, slap the shit out of somebody. Let them know that Roadium Radio is live up in this biatch. Welcome back, everybody, to Roadium Radio episode 176. I almost forgot the episode. I almost said 186, but check this out. Before I jump right back into it with my special guest, tomorrow, once again, I'm going to have somebody here. I'll post up the flyer on the YouTube community, also on Facebook, and also my Instagram page. By the way, this is my new Instagram page because the other one got deleted for some fucking reason. Some cock-blocking ass bastard probably kept reporting my memes, and that's why I probably got disabled. We all know who it is, so I'm not going to get into it. Other than that, Freaky Tales Friday, and then Sunday there's no show. Very special day for my family, so I won't be here. Watch a rerun. Watch the Mr. D interview. Watch this interview. Watch the Mr. D video. So, anyways, Viva Mescal. Not to be confused with Viva Las Vegas.
Nope.
Okay, I want to ask you something as I pour. Do you smoke weed?
No.
Okay.
No, yeah, I do smoke weed.
Okay.
I smoke some weed right now with the engineer.
Oh, see. Okay. Okay.
bad.
The reason why I ask is because I've been wanting to ask somebody this question, and soon I'll be back on the Dr. Green Thumb podcast with my artist, Mr. D. Okay. And I want to ask Be Real this question, and I want to ask you this question. Can somebody, because I'm not educated in marijuana, okay, or weed, or zacate, or whatever we call it.
You've never smoked weed your whole life?
When I was a teenager, I tried it twice and I didn't like it. I didn't like it.
Did you get the munchies?
No. Actually, I got the shivers and I threw up.
Oh, shit.
I tried it twice, a year apart, with different people.
And same results.
Same result. So I knew I was allergic to it, you know. So no me gustó, it just wasn't for me. So my question to you is, if I had a drum roll, you know, can somebody smoke themselves stupid?
I feel like this is a rhetorical question.
No.
Because I feel pretty stupid right now. I might have proven the theory already.
No,
yes.
Really?
I had a homie. This fool smoked so much. He put it in his medical term was he smoked his Y chromosome. Now, I'm no doctor or scientist, but that was his explanation. I said, "What happened to you, fool?" And he's like, "Oh, bro, I smoked my Y chromosome." I'm like, "What do you mean?" He's like, "I smoked so much weed, my Y chromosome disappeared." Now, obviously, he was still pretty stupid off of this shit, so I'm trying to have a conversation with him. I'm just like, because no one had seen him for like 2-3 months. And, you know, I've had other friends that go off the deep end on other drugs or stuff, you know, rappers, especially artists. You know, there's a lot of shit going on. I know plenty of rappers who are potheads or fuck around with certain shit and then they start acting a little weird or whatever.
Right.
So you kind of see what'll give you certain effects. But I had never heard of someone smoking weed to do that to themselves, you know, until this fool told me that. But he's smoked his wife.
I've known people that I was like, "Are you high?" And they'll be like this, literally like, "Why?" It was one of those things. But after a while, it became like, okay, this guy hasn't even smoked, and he's like that still. You know, so, I mean, you want to get something to eat? Yep. So that's the way, I'm not like, okay, fuck this dude. Like,
he probably smoked his Y chromosome. I mean, that's, look it up, Google it.
Yeah. Anyways, I served you a shot. I sip on mine, so you can take your time if you want.
Salud.
I won't take points away from you. Damn, I gotta bring some mezcal next time. Okay, so now let's back it up a little bit. Around what age would you say you took interest into wanting to become a rapper?
Damn. Probably around like 19.
Okay, 19.
I mean, it wasn't like I never thought. I feel like everyone like freestyles or would write their little raps and stuff, my homies, but I didn't really like take it serious around 19. I was like, I could do this. Fuck it. I'll be a rapper.
I just rap tamales and presents, bro. That's it. So, yeah, I tried. No, when I say I tried, I was like, clap your hands, everybody. And everybody clap your hands. You know, dudes and Curtis
like party
Blow
rocking.
shit.
Yeah, you party
That's
rocking.
my type of shit, bro.
Okay.
You know, but I'm not going to be like, skip it, get up. I can't even say that on beat. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But I could like, I could do that shit on beat. So I knew that was my strength So I'm like, okay, I'm gonna stay in my lane.
Do you feel like maybe when you were coming up too, or because when did you ever consider being a rapper?
No, never. I never did.
I feel like because it probably was tougher too to be a rapper.
It probably was.
Probably
yeah.
when you know, in the golden age, like,
Right.
And nowadays I feel like fools that probably shouldn't be rapping go and try, and then they give it a real try, and it's like, fuck, you know, like it should have been a fling.
See, today I think I could be a dope rapper.
See, I wouldn't doubt it.
And I'm gonna tell you why, because the bar's so low.
Yeah. I mean, it's sad, but it's true. It's sad, but it's true.
I can get a Fisher Price, you know, keyboard, cling, 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 then cling, cling, cling. I'm going to the room. I'm going to get my broom.
Boom.
Boom, boom. See, there it is. That's that.
Yeah.
And then the hook, girl, what you drink, girl, what you drank, girl, what you, girl, what you, and then all of a sudden, that shit is a hit.
Do the video,
Yeah.
money,
Throwing a pink wig.
half naked chicks.
Yeah.
You go viral. Probably
Yeah.
go viral.
Wear some high heel sneakers.
Don't forget your purse. And
Yeah,
then
exactly.
you're going to go viral.
Exactly. Pink tank top tied
I mean,
in the middle.
and people deduct this. This is their plan. Like, I know that's actual people's plan a lot of times.
Yeah.
I've been in that room. I've been in that room before. You know, and even people have approached me and said, why don't you do this? I'll give you some money. Come on, we'll get this. We'll get this car. You know, you ever want to think about slapping some more tattoos on you? What's up? Like, I'm just like, I just listen. And I'm just like,
You know what? I will know, unless it's done already, that hip hop has gone overboard when you start seeing a rapper wearing Daisy Dukes.
Google it. You'll probably see it right now. Put rapper in Daisy Dukes.
Yeah, I'm serious.
He'll
Like,
probably come up right now, but he probably just hasn't blown up yet.
no, I think that would blow
That
up.
would blow up.
That would blow up. So, yeah. Cheek hanging out and everything, you know. So,
Oh man.
but let's be honest. Doesn't it kind of look like that's possibly where it might go?
I mean, you can't
Let's
say.
hope not. So,
Well, you know what's out. You can't necessarily say no, but I would hope. I still hold out hope that somehow the hip hop music like ship is towards that real shit, towards people telling their story, you
Yes.
know, and people, you know, creating real art. You know, I
Right.
had to take it serious as an art for me to have a chance to even make it this far.
Right.
Even at that young age where I was like, if I'm gonna do this, I got to take myself serious now.
yes.
Even though I really didn't. Again, I didn't have no knowledge of how, but I at least was like, I need to start doing this or else no one's going to take me serious. You know, if I don't even take myself serious and say, hey, this is a form of art. This is actually writing bars. You have to be able to hold a certain standard, especially as I was coming up, there was a lot of good talent in LA, and like the battle rap scene was popping,
Yeah.
and freestyling, like, you know, seeing fools like No Can Do and Scatterbrain and fools from Project Blowed, and I would go to these little meetups and there would be pop-ups, or I'd watch a video on YouTube. I'd be like, man, these motherfuckers could rap.
Yeah.
These motherfuckers, like off the top of the head, you know, the fools bottle, throttle, what you want, blah, 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 boom, boom. Like, I'm like, I need to get good like this. If not, what chance do I fucking got, right? I mean, I
Right.
could have gone the other route
Right.
and said, I'm gonna ignore that, fuck that. I'm gonna go and do whatever
Right.
it takes to be popping, and you know. But I enjoyed that art of it and shit, you know.
You know, it's kind of like we can never ever name the best rapper ever. At least in my opinion, I cannot. Okay, but let me ask you this: when it comes to freestylist, can a person be named the best freestylist ever?
I mean, it just depends,
On
because that's
who you
like
like?
a, yeah. Well, I mean, I think there's a difference of like pure freestyling with whatever comes to mind,
Yes.
and then people who are able to interject their pre-written rhymes very thoroughly.
Okay.
And then fools who just straight up spit pre-written rhymes. And I think there's just there's a difference, you know, like if you go like Sway in the Morning, right, and they do the
Right.
5 Fingers of Death, those are all usually verses that people had prepared. They're not truly freestyling, you know what I mean?
Correct,
Because a freestyle isn't very pretty. It's like a fucking wrestling fucking. Some fools can make it look real, but it's
Right.
you're battling the words and the pace, and it has its flaws in it. And a pre-written verse is obviously a lot more structured and
Now let me ask you, from what you know of people like Meek Mills, or let's just say Eminem, when Eminem, I don't know if you've ever heard any of his freestyles. Are some of those things raps you think pre-written?
Yeah, for sure. And I mean, and I'm an Eminem fan, so like I
Right.
know that he's admitted that.
Okay,
You know, even within his bars, he said it, and also just I've seen interviews and shit, you know, where he's just describing it like, you go, you'd battle, you'd lose, you win, you'd get your bars shit ready, and you'd have kind of stuff that you already pre-rehearsed, and you wait for that opportunity.
Right.
And then other stuff is just off the top. It's just purely, you know, improv.
Right.
Which again is like the fucking best part, but also it gets sloppy. I don't know if you
Yeah.
show me any freestyle, they're gonna have the bumbled rhymes. They're gonna have the shit that you're like, huh? Like they just got from that word to that word. It didn't all perfectly make sense and tie in. And you know that there's a beauty to that shit too. You know.
Okay.
And
Okay. Now the reason why I asked is because I've been in situations where I don't want to call them rap battles because they were DJ battles, and there was somebody that would give like me 2 records, fuck it up.
all right.
And then I would be like, okay, cool. I'm not, you know, it's not the type of record that I would usually battle with on the turntables, but I'm going to make it happen. So now, as far as rappers is concerned, see, we would have to pretty much freestyle, even though we may not know that record. You know, like one time I was given, I know you got sold by Eric B. and Rakim. You know, it's been a long time. It's been a long time. You know, so you have to kind of make it work. When it comes to rap, I can't tell because I'm not a rapper if somebody has pre-written.
Oh yeah,
you
true.
know, but can you tell?
Oh yeah, I could tell.
Okay.
Right off the- and then sometimes it's debatable. Sometimes I'll be like, did that? Was that? You know, and then there's little tells within it.
Okay.
And you're like, and you know, it's everything, delivery, facial expression. When someone stumbles on that bar that literally came out of nothing, there's also like this certain body language, you know?
Okay.
And then there's a calmness to when you know what you're gonna say.
Okay.
And then there's this other thing. So that's why you could tell, you know? And some fools could sell it very well. Don't get me wrong. I've been to shows where fools are right there. I'm just like, is that written or is that off the top? And then there's like, he says too much shit lined up. You're like, oh no, you know? And then you ask him, like, no, that part in the beginning, I was freestyling. Then I sat on this verse. You know, I had these 8 bars that I was gonna
I have an idea that I'm going to be doing soon on Roadium Radio. It's not going to be live. Of course, it's going to be pre-recorded. And then every month, I'm going to do it. And I'm going to start, obviously, I just got to find the time. By the end of this year, they'll have at least 2 or 3. And I'll explain to you after. This is going to involve several rappers all together. Okay? I don't want to get into it because motherfuckers steal your idea.
Right.
But at the end of the month, hopefully soon, people will be able to see. And the only people that can participate are people that have been guests on this show.
Oh man, put me in, coach. I'm in.
Yeah, most definitely. Now, I want to give him a shout out because, like, I love this kid, bro. MC Wicks. Are you familiar with MC Wicks?
That's the homie. Yep, that's the
Okay.
homie MC Wicks. And I saw, you know, what's funny is that I saw him on your show.
Okay.
And I was already following the show, and I was like, aware of the platform, but not as aware of its reach and certain things. And I was like, cool, MC Wicks. I'm like, that's dope. And then he was very excited about it.
Yeah.
And his passion towards that, like, put me on and made me dig deeper. And that's when I wanted to reach out. And actually, one of the homies off of Instagram said, you definitely need to hit up Tony and get on that show one way or another. And I'm like, fuck yeah, I saw MC Wicks just on it, you know? So shouts out to Wicks, bro. That fool's
Okay, I'm going to put you on blast, Wicks. He wore the crown to the whole interview, okay?
Okay, I saw that.
But here's the crazy part. We opened up the gate and he drove in wearing the crown.
I promise you that he woke up with that crown on
Probably.
and wore it the whole fucking day. He probably passed out with it the night before or something.
Yeah, much love, MC Wicks.
out to MC
I want to go out there just to grow up with him and see his mural.
I know, that fool got a mural. I'm jealous.
Yeah, he got a mural.
That fool got a mural before me, Wicks.
Yeah.
How'd you pull that one off, bro?
He did it at night when everybody was asleep.
Now, he's quickly, and I've known him for a few years. We have a few tracks and we never put them out. Halfway my fault, 50-50. But it's been so dope to see him become a local legend and to get the love and get that in the city. It pumps me up, He's one, again, like those are the biases I have now.
Yes.
It's hard for me to listen to other artists sometimes and bigger artists, quote unquote, or because I'm so drawn in with all these artists and my peers, and I'm like cheering for them and listening to their shit and fucking trying to keep up and just be creating. That a lot of times someone needs to throw the album at me or really push me, you need to listen to this, then I'll go and I'll listen to so and so, or even random artists, you know, even the top 40 fools, even the little somethings. If someone's pushing, you need it. Have you heard of this fool? I'm like, nah. You know, I know that he looks this way. His name's this. You need to listen. Check this out, because that's still so much a part of our industry. You know, is that next person telling you, so and so is dope. Or damn, did you hear that track he dropped? You know, and move them, and that makes you a believer. You know, and I see that with Wix. You know, it's a trip. I see this fool, and he makes me a believer. You know, so. Shouts out to Wix once again.
I encourage them to start up his own podcast, but I don't know, or his own food show. So So now let me ask you this: when was the first time you were 19 years old? You started rapping. How long ago after that did you start recording yourself and you heard yourself back? Do you remember?
Probably around the same time.
Okay, was it at home? Was it on a karaoke machine, or what was it?
I mean, I've always been a little performer, so I mean, like. If there was a mic when we were kids, I'd get on that mic. I'd talk my shit, or I'd mess around, or I'd sing a song. Shit, when we were little kids, my parents used to take us to Shakey's Pizza karaoke
Hell
nights.
Yeah, Shakey's.
Fucking pitchers of beer everywhere, right? We were little kids.
Pizza, chicken, and potatoes.
The mojos, right? So
the mojos.
We'd go in, and then my parents would sign us up for the karaoke and make us sing Rockin' Robin. Tweet, the three boys. So me and my two brothers. And we would be shy. Oh, it says the Miranda boys, Rockin' Robin, you know, the host. Come on. And, oh, no. They push us up. Fucking. As soon as the music come on, we fucking do our little routine. We would do a little song and dance routine, lip singing Rockin' Robin. And fucking, it rocks in the treetop all the day long. You know that shit. You know that shit. So the song would end, everyone in Shakey's go nuts. Give us dollars, you know, go play. We'd fucking bask in it, you know. That's what lit the little since then, you know. And if there was, who wants to be the one to talk in front of the class, who wants to be the one to do that, and I'd go up there and just, you know, I've always had a natural ability for public speaking. So, and I know with hip hop, it's another channel for that.
Right.
I love to write my songs. I love to do all that shit, but I love to create content. I love to create media. I love being a mouthpiece for certain shit and being able to push it and sell it. Like, so regardless, because I chose to do rap at 19, it just pushed me on this path that I know this is what I'm going to be doing for the rest of my life, you know? So I just jumped at that age. But yeah, the first time, I mean, since a kid like that, but rapping and spitting bars, which was a whole other fucking monster in itself. I used to have Windows Movie Maker, and Windows Movie Maker had the little mic that you could just record audio over the video.
Right.
So I got like a little cheap mic, plugged it in with the little fucking headphone jack mic, and that was the first fucking shit I rapped on. I think it was like Wu-Tang. It was like some Wu-Tang shit, like fucking Protect Your Neck or some beat that we stole off of fucking like LimeWire or something.
So,
you know?
so did you record it?
Yeah, we recorded.
Okay, you recorded it. You play it back. Did you like what you heard?
Yeah, I loved it.
No shit.
I loved it.
Okay, I always say this because I would say maybe 80 to 90% of the people that I ask that question, they always say, "No, I couldn't stand hearing myself."
Oh no, I fucking had a big ass smile on my face. I was like, I knew it was terrible. You know what I mean? Like I knew this wasn't any good in the sense of like I wouldn't show this to anyone. Right. I wasn't gonna be playing this, you know, out blasting out my windows. No.
But did you show anyone?
Only whoever was in that room. And then I kept it to myself like a fucking secret. Like I remember I used to write my rhymes, even younger, before I ever recorded myself. And I'd keep them a secret because I didn't want people to find my shit or bag on me. You know, I was the oldest, so I was always bagging on people, and I had to keep my guard up. You know,
right.
We grew up in back in the day. They were bullies. No one remembers bullies, but they were fucking bullies back in the day. So you had to fucking be on guard. Like you just had to show no weakness. And if you had some rhymes, they'd be like, "What you know?" Like so, I kept it as a little secret. And one of my uncles actually found it and read it and fucking clowned me.
No shit.
This motherfucker, yeah. I'm not gonna name you.
What did he say?
He was just laughing. He was just laughing. Oh, fuck you. So that's why I hit it. You know what I mean? And same thing with this, the early stuff. It was just like our little circle, and then we started getting good. So that's when it was like, all right.
When did you realize, like, you know what? I did it because I liked it. I thought it sounded cool. But when did you realize, like, I'm onto something here? Like, I think I'm actually pretty damn good. Was it soon after that, or was it a while?
It took a while. Because I went through shit, just personal stuff in my life, from like shit happened at my crib. We had a fire. I was homeless for a while. I fucking got stabbed at a little bar fight. Ended up getting stabbed. I had to have surgery. It took me like 9 months to recover. I have a fucking caterpillar down my stomach right now.
A motherfucker stabbed you like that?
Well, no, they didn't. I had to have surgery from the shit, but I got poked up pretty good. So I had to have emergency surgery. It like put a halt on all my shit I was doing. I mean, and I was just trying to turn something into nothing.
Okay.
Nothing into something.
I have to ask you, what happened with that, bro? You were at a bar. Some motherfucker just.
I was at Downtown Art Walk in downtown LA. Art Walk, right? Have you guys ever been to Art Walk right here in downtown? So it used to be popping. And it was like I discovered Art Walk, right? I'll be like, fuck, why is it all packed here on this Thursday? So I started bringing all my homies and shit, and we would just mob it at Art Walk. But it's not like we're up to like banging or nothing. Like it was nothing like that. It was just some general, just fucking drunken squabbles, like you're young, testosterone. It was like fools were just, I don't even remember how it happened. Like the dude said something to my homie's lady and we just ran up because they were messing with him thinking he's alone. And before you knew it escalated and, a big fight broke out. But I mean, these fools were the ones with the knives and the pepper spray and all kinds of shit. Spray. Like they pepper sprayed me.
With
so
the
first it was terrible, right? So it was like, but them fools got out a strap and just shot us. And that's what I was just like, is it really worth it to be doing this shit and to be just, fucking around? So yeah, after that, I really got serious with the music.
So did you feel it
right
right away?
The chest and the arm and then the back one that got me back.
By the same dude?
I think, yeah. Well, that fool, so we're like, all right, what's up, blah, blah, blah. These fools are all acting all crazy. Some fools all tatted. This fool's like looking crazy. So we walk up and boom, the next thing, pull out the pepper spray. Hit us right in the face.
That's fucking whack.
Next thing you know, boom, boom, you're just fighting blind. I hit the dude who stabbed me. That fool fell. And then the shit just, and I didn't even notice until, it's one of those things. Anyone who's been stabbed out there, and near the audience, it's like, you don't really feel it at first. So we were back in the car and I'm like bleeding like, oh, I'm good. And my cousin's a nurse and she lifted my shirt. She said, you're bleeding, but the blood's not coming out. So that means you're bleeding internally. She's like, you could die from this. You need to go to the hospital. If not, I would have went home. That was I didn't care. I was like, oh, fight happened. We're good. Oh, a little blood. Like, we're fools. You're young. You're just like, who cares? Like, it wasn't no big deal. You got into a scuffle every now and again.
Fucking ran into Michael Myers.
Oh, man. But yeah, man, that shit happened a minute ago. And
well, I'm glad you're still here, bro.
Thank you.
Honestly, I'm glad you're here.
It's kind of crazy to bring it up and shit. I'm not a tough guy,
I know, but I asked you, is there anything you don't want me to ask you?
Nah.
You could have said the Michael Myers incident, don't bring it up. So, but anyways, so man, I'm glad you're here, bro. And because you know what? I've been in situations like that and I was outnumbered and I knew motherfuckers had knives, and probably had waivers. And so I just said, nah, I'm going to walk away from this shit. You know what I'm saying? So
after that, I had to take a chill pill, like even just being down, if everyone wants to be down for their homies, and I get it. But there's other times where it's like, man, you put yourself in a stupid ass situation. I need to get out of here before the situation happens.
Yes, exactly.
That's when I started making that decision. Like, why am I going to be the fool here at 2 in the morning, 2:30 in the morning? And then, like, nah. That's why you catch me. I'll be out before all that stupid shit happens. I could just read the room and be like, you know what? I'm going to take this beer to go. I'm going to go get me some food. Like, that comes with wisdom.
Can you put that beer in a Dixie cup? I'm out of here.
I'm like, you young dudes out there, you start recognizing that shit after a while.
It's true, bro. It's true. That's why I don't go to a lot of places. And when I do go, to be honest with you, many times I go alone. I go alone. I know how to handle myself, so that's all I'm going to say. When I go a podcast, when I do interview, whatever, I usually go alone, bro. It's not that I think I'm some tough guy, but that's just always been me. I've never had this entourage, and if I do, it's going to be my boy Alex or my son, right. And that's it. So, but now
you pouring them up again?
Yes, sir.
There we go.
Yes, sir. I mean, I didn't, I wasn't trying to influence you, but but
just 2.
If you want another beer, I mean,
if my lady's watching, it's just 2.
It's just one after another. So, okay, so now you said that it took a while before you noticed that you were really, really starting to get good at this shit. Okay. Did you ever at one point, and this is one question I never really ask a lot of artists, because we're like more like in the independent game today, okay? Where you could, like you said, this is the best time to be a youngster and be independent.
Right.
Did you ever at all ever try to shop for a deal?
Damn, I can't necessarily say no, because just a few years back there was some opportunities with Universal Music Group. We met a A&R out in overseas, and so I guess like in my head at that point I was like, all right, what could I do, or what does it take to become a signed artist, or become? So I started knocking on those doors a bit, but it kind of came back to square one. It's your numbers, it's your look, it's all these things, and it's your marketability, and you being willing to make a certain type of sound. And if not, you already have to have the fan base where you could just leverage the record label, like a Gibbs does, like any underground fool who comes up, and then they have their following. Now they're like, look, I just want label services, you know, like.
Yeah. And you know what? That's where we're at today. It's almost like you have to prove yourself. You have to show us, because we're not going to spend money in promoting you, marketing you.
What was it called back in the day that record labels had? Development.
Artist development. Thank you.
I forgot that, I mean, I'm not even being sarcastic. Like, I really forgot that term. And it's foreign to anyone who's been in the game since I've been in, for any contemporary or even fool coming up now. I think coming up now, you probably have older heads of fools my age who've been rapping, and they find young fools and they say, I'm gonna develop you.
Thank you.
You know, and you see that, which is dope.
I have to say this, so allow me to interject. There's been a lot of rappers that have come here, and I know, because one thing about Raza, we don't like talent. We don't. Here's the thing, we lack patience, and here's what I mean by that. Give me a year with you, bro, and within a year you'll be spitting fire. You need a little bit of developing.
Right.
Now the homies, like, you know, they say I'm ready right now. I get over 1,000 likes on my pictures.
No one wants to hear that. You know, even when I was coming up, one of the fools used to tell me, one of the older heads, man, in 3 years you're gonna be killing. And I took it the wrong way. I was too young to realize what he was saying. 3 years to me felt like an eternity.
Right.
Or, you know,
Right.
and he's like, watch, in 3 years you'll be killing, fool. You're just, you know, like in his words, you're just
Right.
not there yet.
There was a guy that told me, man, I'm already certified on Instagram. That's what he said.
Right.
I'm already certified. And I go,
What does that mean?
Yeah,
What does certified mean?
well, he was still sleeping in his mama's couch. That's what that means. You know, he goes,
Yeah.
I'm already certified. And I was like, give me a year with you. Let me develop something in you. You still got to work. You still got to find your sound, and you still got to develop your look.
Right.
Just wait. Nah, I mean, I get over 10,000 views, you know, on whatever video I post. That doesn't equal out to money, bro. It doesn't. You know, here's what I always tell people. You know, being famous on social media is like being rich in Monopoly.
I feel you. I mean, what if they shut down Instagram tomorrow?
Yeah.
Who really holds the power, the artist or the platform? The platform does.
The platform. And here's a meme that I love. It says, excuse me, who were you before Instagram?
Yep.
If you're an artist, look at yourself in the mirror and say that. Who were you before Instagram?
Damn, that's a deep one. That's
Okay.
a deep one.
Even all these raggedy ass girls shaking their ass, Instagram models, charging $200 to come in a video. Cool, I'm not knocking your hustle. But shut down Instagram, you're gonna go back to working at a warehouse.
What you got? And that's that shit. The platform's bigger. Even Trump got canceled. That fool got kicked off.
He got kicked off.
And he tried to sue him and they said no.
Yeah, you're fired.
So who's bigger, him or the fucking platform?
Exactly.
The platform. They shut his ass down. It's a trip.
Let's talk about Trump just a little bit. There was a guy that hit me up for an interview. Okay, cool. And this is a trend I've noticed. Okay, let me start my time over again. Because we ran out of time, but that doesn't mean nothing.
All right.
Okay.
This is good. This is good conversation. I'm loving this.
Yeah,
I'm loving
one guy tells me, hey man, I want an interview. Okay, send me your bio. And he was like, my bio? He goes, you don't know who I am? And I said, no, honestly, I don't know who you are. Just send me your bio. Well, listen to my music. And I was like, bro, okay, send me links, but email them to me. Now I'll just send it to you here. And he was acting like a fucking asshole. So I was like, all right, I'm going to give you a shot. Send me your links. I don't click on links on the DM. I don't. Or on, just email them to me. I'll get back to you. So what happened was, I got back to him and I said, look, bro, I think this stuff is cool. I'm going to go ahead and give you an hour, you know. Now, fuck that. I need 2 hours, like you give so-and-so. And I was like, look, let me tell you something. Power 106, you know, A.DA are not knocking at your fucking door, bro. BET is not knocking at your door. MTV is not knocking at your door. And if you did have a hit record, you would be on maybe 10 to 15 minutes. All they're going to ask you who produced it, how did you come up with this concept, when's it going to drop, and when can people see you next? And then you're out the fucking door.
Right.
I'm giving you an hour to shine light on you, to promote you on what you're doing. He had a hard time with that, you know? So I just cancel people like that, bro. I'm not going to deal with it. So when people tell me, how come you haven't had so-and-so on? Because many times they fall under that category, you know? And honestly, so...
Expectations and entitlement, you know, I mean...
Yeah. And this guy had over 100,000 followers on Instagram, okay? So he invites me to one of his shows. He goes, it's almost sold out. Come check me out. I went, and this is why I tell people, do not believe social media.
Right.
Okay? I went, there wasn't even 50 people there.
Damn.
And this was at a club that 300 to 400 people.
Oh, that hurts. Because
Okay.
if you're in a small spot and you get 50, 60 people, it's going to look legit.
Yeah.
It's
Okay.
a trap. Sometimes a
Right.
big venue is a trap.
And
you know?
after that, I kept texting him. Then like about a month later, he put busy. And then I was like, you ain't that fucking busy. And he goes, if you knew my schedule, you would know I'm busy. And I go, look, bro, if Trump can tweet, you can text.
I was like, when is Trump coming into this?
That was it. That was the clincher.
Oh, man, that's great.
So you know what I said? Got it.
He's out of here.
So, you know, I mean, don't believe the hype. Honestly, 1,000 likes doesn't mean shit unless it equals this, bro.
It's hard to turn likes to money, you know, straight up. And there is a way to do it, to utilize your attention, because attention is like money now. You know, it really is. If you can keep an audience, but people only see that first initial layer, likes, attention, that. They don't think about what it takes deeper. And the great people who are dropping great content, they're telling a story.
Yes.
And the deeper and better you could tell that story, don't matter how long it takes you. It does not matter how long it takes you. Anyone out there, that could take you 5 years, take you 10 years. You tell a good story, you tell it one time, you could eat for the rest of your life.
For the rest of your life, bro.
And it's proof everywhere, right? That's why they put plaques on, right? To remind you. It doesn't happen every day. You know, here's a little reminder, you know? And so, I mean, I try to keep that mind, you know, and it's a constant journey to try to tell the best story and try to put out the best product and make sure it's still true to myself and make sure it's like, you know, I'm growing with my music.
I'm going to share something with you that it's, I think it's a good thing, what I'm about to share, okay? Are you familiar with heat seekers?
Heat seekers?
That's what it's called. You get a plaque whenever your song on Spotify or all these major platforms is rising.
Okay.
It's called heat seekers. If it reaches like, and don't quote me on this, but it may be the wrong number, but like if it's in the top 40 or 30, whatever, like your song is climbing on all these media platforms, then they send you a plaque that you made heat seekers, means like your song is escalating, okay? I see a lot of guys, you know, taking picture with their plaque, like my song is doing good. And you know what I say? Awesome. I really do say that. You know what heat seekers were for us in my day? I don't post it up, but it was on Billboard magazine. It was just a little fucking high C, Tony A, sitting in the park is on heat seekers. That was it. We didn't get no fucking plaque for that bullshit.
Who pays for that plaque though? Does the artist pay for it, or the heat seeker sends it out?
Well, from what I understand, well, back then, if you had a gold record, because like when I was signed to Disney, we sold 100,000 copies. So they gave us our plaque.
Right.
It came from the label. So since I never got one, I can't answer and say who gives it to them.
Right.
You know, so, but back then, like I was on a post the other day, like on Billboard magazine, 3 times our songs made heat seekers. So I'm like, okay, I want my 3 fucking plaques.
Damn, that's crazy.
Yeah.
That's no small feat. That's fucking,
you know what I'm saying?
Amazing. Yeah.
I got a gold record. It wasn't streams. It was 500,000 copies.
Yeah.
You know, today they lowered the gold to 250.
I didn't know they did that. They really
Yeah, they did that.
Holy
Platinum is now what gold was, 500,000.
I mean, it makes sense. No one can sell records, and I've seen the numbers and seen the same track that did 11 million streams in a week couldn't, you know, move 1,200 downloads. So I mean, obviously, you know, people rather just stream the song than actually buy it. I'm surprised 1,200 people actually paid for it. Who the fuck are these people? You know, they're still using iTunes, still buying. There's a few of them out there, you know, they want to actually own it and purchase it. But yeah, fuck, I mean, 500,000 now, you're double platinum.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Or triple platinum 3 times.
Yeah. Now let me ask you this. When you started like dropping, your music, you started building up a fan base. I've seen a couple of your videos and a couple of live videos, especially with the link you sent me, where people are out there cheering you on and enjoying your music. They actually know a lot of the lyrics. And I think that's very important. When an artist goes out there, they're just not grooving, but they're singing along to your lyrics. That's important to me.
Right.
Okay. Because they know your shit.
Yeah, I've never really acknowledged it in my head until you saying it right now, but that is a trip.
Well, because I see it from a DJ's perspective.
Right.
For an example, even though our songs, today we can look at them and say, oh, they were fucking corny songs. It doesn't matter. They were our songs. High C used to sing, girl, you're on my dick dingling, time I was late with the string. He used to sing it a cappella before we started the beat. And he had the entire fucking crowd singing it a cappella while he beatboxed. And as soon as the hook was over, so the fucking crowd erupted.
Man, I can picture that shit in my head right
now. So now when I saw your video, I could say, wow, I like that shit. It just brings back memories when people are singing your fucking lyrics. And you have to have good songs for people to sing your lyrics. And I heard a couple of your songs. I really, really enjoyed it. My thing is this. When you saw your fan base rising, how did you feel, man, when people see you and they recognize you, or maybe I'm a huge fan of yours, or I got your shit, or...
It's still like, even just you acknowledging it is kind of like, it trips me out, because it's something I don't necessarily always acknowledge or like spend too much time in.
Yeah.
Just because, I don't know, I'm usually just take the humble road. Like, thank you, I appreciate it.
Yeah.
I love it. At the same time, with my art and what I'm creating and I'm trying to make, I try to also don't let that go to your head. Don't let that then leak too much into where you're gonna, cut some corners on your music, or, think you got it like that. I try to just stay hungry, and tell myself, like, not that I don't appreciate that, but it's like, we're still aiming higher. We want to just keep going, keep pushing.
Right.
But, at the same time, it's a great feeling. You asked earlier too, like, what was that moment I knew? One of the tells of how I knew that my shit was getting better as far as I was progressing was when the same people who were telling me to stop, the same people who were hating, the same people who were like, what are you doing, fool? Why are you doing this? Like, you should do some other shit, And they were the same people who, full circle, a few years down, were giving me props. Or not just props, but asking me to talk and advise other people who were attempting to do what I had just done. Wow. So they had saw me as enough of a success to advise someone they cared about. So they're like, hey, my sister's trying to sing. My homie's trying to start a business, right? Like,
right.
And the homie got everything down, and he just needed someone to be like, do it. Hey, fool, do it. What the fuck you waiting for? Like, he just needed something, but he wouldn't listen to he had to hear from fucking Mezcalito. He like, Mezcalito tells, oh shit, all right, I'm gonna start this business. Cause this fool did it where I was trying to sell mixtapes outside of Food for Less.
Right.
To like rocking the Novo.
Not,
you know
not
what
Home
I mean?
Depot,
like,
right?
Not Home Depot. Although I'm like, damn fool, like when you say that, I was like, bro, when I was 18, 19, I was working some shitty ass jobs. I was never outside of Home Depot, but like, I was getting like terrible jobs, like warehouse jobs, like fucking labor jobs. Like I've done that, and even like I don't know, it just trips me out.
Okay, look. So you said labor jobs, because I did the same type of jobs, bro. Same shit. Okay, I'm not lying to. When I was never too prideful to go get a fucking job, bro.
Right.
Okay. And
me either, but I couldn't hold it. But I would at least go get one.
There's a lot of fucking rappers out there like, fuck that, I'd rather fucking slang dope and become a hitman than go get a fucking job. You know why? Because they got to keep up the image on social media.
Right.
Okay. So anyways, my thing is this, that, fuck, I forgot my fucking point. That's what this.
You were never too proud to go get a fucking job.
To go get a fucking job.
Some labor jobs. You're
so
tell me.
I would go get a fucking job, bro, and do what I had to do to pretty much feed my family. Do what I had, and still do the music on the side. But there's a lot of people, bro, that don't care to admit that they work. I've interviewed people here that when I ask them, like I asked you, anything you want me to ask you, don't ask me where I work. All right,
I
cool.
mean, it's understandable.
You know, cool.
I could say this. I took the leap or whatever, like started rapping at 19. By about 21, I've had a few jobs, but I was dedicated to try to earn a living off of music. That
Right.
took me to promoting. That took me to engineering. That's
Right.
how I pay the bills now, is through engineering and through events or you know, middlemanning stuff, making things
Right.
happen. And we got a printing company we do podcasts too. We have a little setup we got, and I ran my studio for the past 5 years. But I was forced to do these things from the fact that I was like, bro, I want to do my full artistry. I only want to rap,
Yeah.
and people said I was crazy in that sense. Like,
Right.
fool, you're gonna have to do some other shit. And I'm like, I'm glad to say that, you know, even as far as having kids, I just had my son. I waited a pretty long time to have my first child. You know what I mean?
Oh, so this is your first.
This is my first child.
Congratulations,
So, you know,
man.
thank you so much. And he's a blessing. But I made that conscious decision back when I was in my early 20s to just be like, yo, I can't have a kid right now because I have to go get my ass a job and go bust my ass and go do it because I'm not going to leave him right here starving. So I'm like, better. I even tell my young artist homies, I go, find your number. Find your number. Everyone got a number of the lowest amount they could live off for a month. I know it sounds fucked up.
Right.
But that's what an artist is. Some fools can't do that.
Right.
Some fools need to buy their new pair of shoes. Some fools need to go buy their shit, you know, get their certain shit. They need their 12 pack and their ounce a week. I get it. You can go hustle for that, cool.
Right.
But as an artist, I was willing to myself to find my number. What's rent look like? What's cell phone look like? What's some activities looking like? Are you ready to go to the bar for $5, you know, like with
Right.
$5 in your pocket? Like, what does that look like? Find that number. It was like 430 for me, 390, whatever, right? That's a pretty low, that's below the
right.
poverty level. Like, that's
Right.
hella low. That's a month. You can live off of $400 for a month. I'm like the kids, you know, no offense. I'm like the kids you can feed for like 50 cents of rice. Like, that's how I was living, so that I didn't have to go and like necessarily get a 9 to 5. And I tell my artist homies that shit all the time. Find that number. You can hustle towards that shit. I could sell some shirts towards $400 a
Right,
month.
right,
That's
right.
$100 a week. My
Right.
dude, if you can't make $100 a week to be able to live this great artistic lifestyle where you get to do whatever the fuck you want,
Go get a job.
maybe you don't want it. Yeah, like
Yeah.
maybe you should go pack it up, you know?
Here was my point, and this kind of goes along with Clearbear, what he was saying. You said warehouse jobs. I work warehouse jobs. Okay. When Donald Trump was in office and he was trying to get rid of, you know, Raza out of here, we're going to build a wall, go back, whatever. If you were to get rid of every Mexican, okay, let's just say Raza, let's include everybody in. I don't
Right.
care if you're Salvadorian, Guatemalan, Honduran, or whatever. That's all Raza to me. That's all one. Get rid of us all. I guarantee the United States economy will collapse.
Yep, without a doubt.
Without a doubt. I'm going to say that again for the people in the back. You get rid of us all, the United States economy would collapse.
Oh yeah.
Who cooks a Mediterranean food? We do. Who cooks the sushi? We do. We
And
do.
it's in the entire country. You go around. That's the only place where I've been on the East Coast or where I've toured.
I'm going to toast
I see Raza. Where are they at? They're doing the hard work. They're building their construction. They're in the kitchen. They're doing all this shit.
I don't know if you want another one.
Fuck it.
Your girl's not looking.
Nah, she ain't. She
Okay.
the baby. We good. Nah, but that's facts. 100% facts, bro.
Yeah, bro. So,
And you know, that's why when I was working warehouse jobs and I was doing all that shit, that was the first thing to jump into. It was just a straight path. You want to work? You can get work tomorrow, motherfucker.
Yeah.
Because you know where to find it.
yeah.
Ask any of these fools, they'll tell you where exactly. They'll pick your ass up, you go work. So it's not even a matter of that, you know.
Yeah.
That's what kind of encouraged me to go and think of a new plan and think of a new strategy. That's why today is the best time, most opportunistic time to be an artist and to do that. It's $1 billion industry, indie music, for the first time. And when I came in, it was really hard. All the studios are closing, all the events. There was nothing cracking. Now I could throw a rock and hit a studio or go in, and you see so many people doing it. You know, there's so much available, you know, so man, this, you know, don't get out. If you're thinking about it, you're doing your thing, this is the worst time to leave. Stay in, keep doing your shit, keep grinding. All the young artists out there, find your number. You could do that shit. Living proof. And that's the shit too. Like, to get to the next level, that's all I'm trying to do is level up. I'm not trying to go and sell platinum that'd be great. Don't get me wrong.
Right.
but I'm trying to get the next best product I can, the next best song I could write, and keep engaging the fans. And who knows where that takes me. It's brought me this far to be sitting right here with you, straight up.
Awesome, man.
Because it is not by no accident. And
No.
even to listen
It's not, bro.
to the homie earlier was like, I was like, one of those moments, I was like, man, I was meant to be in this room right now.
Yeah, exactly.
Listening to this and to be doing this.
I don't
know?
believe in coincidences, okay? But just to ask you a few more questions before we wind up this interview. What can people expect, your fans expect from Viva Mescal 2021? Do you have an album, EP, single, visuals, performances coming out this year?
Yeah, so I just dropped my album about 2 months ago.
Okay.
Ballad of El Güero. That's the name of the
Ballad
album.
of El Güero.
Yeah.
Is that on like on some I Need Love romantic type of shit, or?
Something like that.
Okay.
We got some tracks on there. So I've just been on the rollout to promote that, and I got a new video dropping any day now, honestly. I haven't announced it, but it's off one of the tracks that's called Life's a Risk off the album. One of my favorite tracks. And then I'm performing next Saturday, July 24th in East Los, right on Whittier Boulevard at this venue. So go check that out, and it's gonna be a crazy night. I got some special guests. I got a bunch of local talent. It's like that opportunity to put on foods that I've been watching and shit. So it's gonna be crazy. So that I'm really looking forward to that, performing all this new music. And yeah, more videos are on the way. I want to launch. I'm in the process of launching a web series called Golf Locals, where I go and I golf because I enjoy golfing, and it's predominantly, obviously, a white sport, but a lot of Latinos play,
And it's a white ball.
and it's a white ball.
And you get,
And
and you get to hit
smack
it.
So we the golf locals, we've been golfing and going to these spots, and it's been like a cultural clash. It's been a trip. So I'm gonna be launching that this year, and yeah, man, more shows. That's really what it comes down to.
You know what? You just said golf. You know what that reminded me of? Remember Happy Gilmore?
Yeah.
Remember when the guy goes, "Let me wash your balls." You remember? Come on, pull them out. Let me wash them.
Oh man.
Okay, I'm not offering that. I'm quoting the movie.
Right.
Quoting the fucking movie. Okay, go watch Happy Gilmore. That's a fucking. You know how in golf.
Well, once you play, have you played golf before?
Never.
Never. Oh shit.
I stay away.
I gotta have you.
No,
I
I'm
gotta
not
have
gonna
you
say
on the show though.
I'm not gonna
I
say
think we're gonna do a golf local show with me and you.
Okay, but I'm
Because
gonna
I
be.
took my homie for the first time, and he, it wasn't too bad.
Okay.
It wasn't too bad.
But I'm gonna be like Happy Gilmore. Be like, everybody make some noise.
Oh, we go play at Pico Rivera or Montebello. Well, Pico's more turned up, but we got all Raza right there. Fools bumping their speakers, just
Let's do it.
golf etiquette
That-
just thrown out the window.
You
Fools
know-
right there bumping, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday.
Okay.
Motherfuckers putting and shit. They just everyone's
You
having
know-
a good time.
you know what we
It's the
call
good
it?
shit. It's the good shit.
We call it ghetto golf.
There
what
we
do.
go.
That's what we do.
Golf locals. You're the newest member right
Okay, let's do it. I don't care, but it's got to be noisy.
now. Yeah.
Okay. So, and do I use a bat or what do I use?
Probably, we'll send you out there like a hockey stick. Just Happy Gilmore status.
What was that, dude? Hey, can you count? Count on me to wait for you outside. That motherfucker was hilarious.
Oh, that huge dude.
That huge dude. That shit was fucking hilarious. So,
That's
okay.
a classic.
So now, so they're gonna expect you to perform. You dropping a video soon. You dropped your album
2 months ago.
Ballad
I actually
of the
I got a copy of the album.
Hell yeah. Okay.
It's on
Now-
CD still, but you could obviously
No,
stream it on
hey,
Spotify.
you know what?
and all
A lot
that.
of motherfuckers. I'm not a dinosaur. I have CDs. You're fucking lying. If you're a Latino, if you're a Chicano, you have a CD player somewhere. Okay.
I mean, come on.
So-
you do. I got one.
Okay. Now, where can it? Because your Instagram has been popping up, and that'll be on the description as well. Where? I know they can contact you, but where can they buy this hard copy if they're interested?
I mean,
Just hit you?
you could download it, but no, I mean, vivamezcal.com. I got my website. I got merchandise on there. We got, shirts. I got CDs.
So the link's in your bio.
I'm working on the vinyl right now. Gonna put in the order for the vinyl. So, and then you could get the tickets for the show on there too, and on Eventbrite. And yeah, link will be in my bio, or just vivamezcal.com. Same as my name, .com at the end.
Viva Mescal, not to be confused with Viva Las Vegas.
No. Oh, that's where my Raiders play. That's for another day, huh?
Yes, for another day. Anyways, my brother, other than it's been a pleasure and an honor to have you here.
Thank you, man.
Anything or anybody want to shout out?
Shouts out to the East of the River crew. Shouts out to MC Wicks. Shouts out to the homies who pushed me to get on and to DM you and to contact the show. Very blessed, and I think, like you said, no coincidence, everything lined up. So
Yes.
anyone tuned in right now, you're supposed to be tuned in right now, rocking with your boys. So check out the music, check out the movement, and we're just trying to put good hip hop out and
Yeah,
keep growing, man. That's it.
that's dope. That's dope. Yeah.
Oh yeah, Carnalismo in the house. You
Yeah,
know, I got to
yeah.
shout
I'm gonna
out
give
to
him
them.
a shout out. I'm
Oh,
gonna
he
show him
gets
his
his own
love.
time. All right, see.
No, I'm gonna give him his love. Now, let me say this. Okay, I was invited to a video shoot like maybe 2 weeks ago, and Carnalismo Clothing actually mailed me some shirts, and I've had them sitting there for a while. I wore them on the show in the past before, but that day I said, you know what? Today's special. I'm gonna go ahead and throw on Carnalismo Clothing. I show up to the video shoot, and everyone, even kids, is wearing Carnalismo clothing. So nothing happens by coincidence. So I meet the owner, you know, the CEO, the entrepreneur of Carnalismo Clothing, and he is here today. So I said that to say this, that he will eventually be on the show because I want him to explain how he came up with the name and why the clothing, because I want his clothing to blow up. So
Word.
yeah, so he'll be on the show soon. Hopefully this month. I'm gonna find him a spot this month because I'm doing a lot more interviews this month. So be looking out for Carnalismo Clothing. And Rich G said this. That's a dope ass fucking name, Carnalismo Clothing. So he'll be on here, and hopefully he brought me a couple of shirts. So you know, maybe next show or tomorrow I'll be wearing his shirt. So support the Carnal from Carnalismo Clothing. So other than that, I want to thank once again. Viva Las Vegas. Viva Mescal.
Thank
Thank
you,
you,
bro.
my brother. Thank you. Greatly appreciate you, homie.
Thank you,
Have
Tony.
a safe trip to New York. Rock that shit. Let them know that out here in the West Coast, we got mad fucking talent.
That's right.
So, and I also want to give a shout out to Clearbear, not to be confused with Care Bear. So much love, much respect, and he will be back soon. And I'll make sure to have some gummy bears for him. And no, he doesn't work at Build-A-Bear. And his favorite cartoon is not Yogi Bear. So much love, Clear Bear. We're good. Thank you for that message. Thank you for your passion. And we'll be back tomorrow. And we're out of. Oh, no, I can't. Alex Cervantes Enterprise, my boy who runs this shit. Thank you, Alex. Anthony the Hip Hop Jedi and my son B Scanless. Much love, much respect. And last but not least, Mega Man. The Mega Man podcast is in the motherfucking building. And I'm going to say this. I love and respect Mega Man. And if you have a problem with him, you have a problem with me. And with that being said, we're out of here.
Peace.
You got it